Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Coffee and Kalashnikovs, what I think is the best firearm live stream on YouTube. And we're here again. It is March 21st. Hold on one second. Gotta get rid of some new crap that they're doing here. And yeah, here we are. We're going to have some good things we're going to talk about tonight. A lot of fun, a lot of fun. Let's see. Testing a lot of gear over the last year. And I've got some stuff, not just original reviews, but reviews on things that we've used a year, 2 years, 3 years, and have really put them through their paces. And I think you're going to be surprised at some things that passed and some that failed miserably that you never would have thought would have. Then we've got some new things we're trying out, like these. So if you watch my videos, and like any good AK shooter, when you're shooting AKs, you got to wear gloves. Things get a little warmer than ARs, let's say, depending on handguards, other things. They tend to run a little warmer. So when you're really going at it and running some mag after mag after mag, things start to get a little warm, that type of thing. And I use original mechanics gloves. Always have, always will. For some reason, I'm right-handed, but on mechanics gloves, I tend to wear out the left forefinger for some reason. And I don't know if that's just how I grip things. I don't know. Running the gun somehow, you'd think my trigger finger on my right hand would wear out, but it doesn't. I always put a hole here and here. Maybe heat has something to do with it. I don't know. But I end up having to take gloves that are, I don't know, a couple months old and cut them off into half gloves on this side, or cut the one finger off or whatever. Anyhow, mechanics gloves over the years now have gotten expensive, and it's like, I don't know, $26 now for a pair, something like that. And I started looking around for just other options, and I forget where I was, but they had these Magpul brand, and they've got a little more padding over the knuckles, which I really don't care about, but they're real leather versus synthetic. So we'll see how this works out. Maybe they'll wear better, maybe they won't. I kind of like that synthetic. It gives you a good feel, and they grip okay and all of that. The one thing you can't do with the mechanics gloves is wash them. If you happen to wash a pair of mechanics gloves, especially a newer pair, they will, the synthetic palms on them, just like, it's kind of like getting a sunburn and your skin sheets off. Well, that's exactly what it does to those mechanics gloves. I threw an entire, I don't know, 10 pairs in, from mechanics gloves to some of the cheap ones you'll find on like Amazon or something like that, with the carbon fiber knuckle thing. They look all cool and everything, but the knuckles never line up right on them, that type of thing. They're just there for palm finger protection. And I wore those Amazon gloves for a long time, the knuckle duster ones, and they work well. And I can't say that the knuckle things aren't useful, because especially shooting from barricades, stuff like that, you'll whack your knuckles, and I cut my hands to hell. And, I've always got cuts, and they always look permanently dirty from repairs, gunsmithing, auto repairs, whatever I'm doing. I'm very mechanical, so I have like permanent dirt. When I go on vacation, sometimes they finally get clean after a week, but it's just one of those things. My wife hates it, but what are you going to do? I could stop fixing things and gunsmithing and all that, and wouldn't have to worry about it. But anyhow, we're going to see how these Magpuls work out. I like gloves to be low on the wrist. I hate gloves that come over. So, and I hate gloves that end up with extra fingers sticking out like a reservoir tip on a condom. Can't stand that. So I'll buy them small always. And you always have to remember stretch. They're going to stretch eventually. Synthetic, real leather, cloth, whatever, they're going to stretch. So buy them a little small because you don't want that extra there hanging up in trigger guards. You're shooting light triggered guns and something hangs up as you're entering the trigger guard, stuff like that. They're hard to manipulate small parts and things if they're long. So make sure when you're trying on a pair of gloves that, number one, the tips aren't long on the fingers. Make sure they're going all the way down into the web of your fingers, and make sure that the palm material, the leather, whatever it is, line up correctly. Some of them are made overseas, and they're made so cheaply, they're put together just wrong, frankly, and nothing lines up. You'll see on these Magpols almost the line of the thumb is, I guess it's right. It's perfect. It looked like it was off a little bit. I always check to make sure they line up well, and that's a good thing. And sometimes you can get them with the tips that'll work on your cell phone. And that's good when you're at the range or something, you got to take a call or whatever. Or working with an iPad at the range. I've got a range camera that I put out by the targets, and it's like a mini router. It shoots the images back to my iPad or computer or even cell phone. And I can see my shots without having a spotting scope or having to walk down there. It's pretty neat. I should bring you guys a video on that thing. It even takes a picture of each shot, and when it senses a difference in the picture, like another hole from another round, it counts it and it shows you where that bullet hole is. So if you're looking at the picture and it's hard to see, it'll show you right where it is because something digitally changed in that picture. Works pretty good. I've used it out to 300 yards. And it's pretty cool, but it's nice to be able to touch the computer screen without taking my gloves off. So yeah, we're going to try out these Magpols and see how they work. Also, make sure when you're buying gloves that you got a big enough pull tab. Mechanics gloves have changed them over the years. There's some with loops, there's other with tags. The newer mechanics gloves, the originals, have a big loop that's sewn here and then way over here. So there's a big loop you can just grab and yank. And I like the Velcro closures too. These don't have Velcro closures, just elastic, and they kind of bug me a little bit, but we'll see. Hopefully they hold up. Color don't matter. I buy them in desert tan, OD green, black, camo. I've got a really cool pair. Sometimes mechanics gloves come out with like limited editions almost. And I was at like auto parts store or O'Reilly's or something, and they had multi-cam mechanics gloves, and they were more expensive than the regular ones, but all my gear is multi-cam, so figured I had to add them to the pile. My plate carrier, mag pouches, all my other pouches, radio pouches, dump pouches, everything is multi-cam. So why not, We'll save those for the good video shoots or something. I don't know, because I'll wear them out quick. And like I said, I wear out the left thumb and forefinger for some reason. I don't know why. I have no idea. You would think the trigger finger would wear out first. Anyhow, enough of the gloves. We've got a main topic I came up with for today. I always come up with one or two topics, a couple stories I tell you guys. And then we always refer to the chat, and that's where we kind of grab our ideas, our questions, things we're going to talk about, that type of thing. Hopefully you guys can hear me okay and everything, and see me okay. It's a little dark, isn't it? Let's see, get a little more light on the subject there. Not that you want to see me. I should just be a radio personality, not TV. You got to have the looks and everything for TV, but hey, what the heck? We all get old, right? Anyhow, let's go to the chat real quick and check in. And while I'm doing that, I'll hit you guys up for the one time only that I do during the live stream. And that's to say that not all our videos get monetized. So the only way this channel works is through donations through super chat down here at the bottom. When you go to type in a super chat, there's a little dollar sign down there. Click on that. Can give a donation from a penny to whatever you want. And we use that money to go right back into the channel, covers ammo, this, that, the other. This time of year, we have all kinds of membership dues that come due and all of that. So it all goes to a good place. But if you feel you get something out of this, please throw us a super chat. We would appreciate it. And we answer your question a little quicker. We'll take that first. But also make sure up at the top on the chat that you click where it says top chat. If you click that, you can change it to live chat and you'll see everything. On top chat, you might not see all the comments. So make sure you do that. Not everybody knows about that. And while you're at it, make sure you give us a like down here. If you like what you see, subscribe and then click the bell too, so you get notifications when we do a live stream. I try to get them out earlier in the day. Never seems to work. Tonight we got it out at about 7:30, so we don't have a lot of people in here yet, but it'll pick up ahead of steam. And we've got some good subjects tonight. There's a lot of good things going on in the gun community, in the 2A community. We've had a bunch of wins, huge wins that we're going to talk about. If you notice, I haven't been too outspoken on some of the big lawsuits that have come through. And they're big. You know, we've got the brace ban, we've got the frame and receiver ban, and you've got multiple assault weapons bans, one in Illinois, one that's working its way through in Michigan, and tons of others. I've told you guys for the last couple of weeks that in the first 2 months of this year, from January 1st through the end of February, there were more gun control bills brought to the House than there had been in the 70 years prior. That's absolutely jaw-dropping. So is there agenda? Is there an agenda? You tell me. More lawsuits brought, more bills brought to the House and Senate in 2 months than there have been in 70 years. So again, tell me if there's something up. What do you think? All the things that have been going on the last 2 years, but yeah, it's all coincidence, you know? Let's face it, gun controllers will never give you an answer of what they want. Well, what is it you want? Do you want no more pistols? You want no more assault rifles? You want ammo bans? What do you want? What makes you happy? If we do that one thing you want, what makes you happy? You'll never get an answer. They won't answer you because it's never enough. They'll tell you it's enough. That's what they want, but it's never enough. They want complete disarmament of the American citizen. Complete, utter disarmament. That's the only thing that will satisfy them. So giving an inch is over. You can't give an inch. There is no compromise. There's no common sense gun laws. There's nothing. Second Amendment protects our rights. It doesn't give us that right. Those rights are ours. We already have them. They're God-given rights. Always think of the Constitution as us, the people, telling the government what the boundaries are. We are talking to the government, telling them where that line in the sand is. And that line in the sand with the Second Amendment is, shall not be infringed. You can be armed, you can protect yourself. And I hate talking about protecting the family, protecting your home, because while that's part of it, what is truly meant and why the American people have the right to bear arms is to fight off a tyrannical government. That's what it's there for. And that's also means that we have the right to everything that government has to fight back, and equal to or better than as far as arms go. You go back to Revolutionary war times, Civil War time, it was very commonplace for the people to have better armament than the government, the armies they were fighting for. Personal arms were a thing, and they were very, very often much better than what standard issue was. So there's your historic facts. Um, everything, all these big wins that have come down the pipe recently. Uh, there's a lot of other things backing them, but this Bruin decision and how eloquent Clarence Thomas wrote it is just doing so much for us. It's not something we can just hang our hat on and forget about things, but it's really given everything a boost. And we're going to go through some of these big wins here real quick and tell you what's going on. One you may not have even heard of, but it's huge. And I think where it's all leading, for the last couple of years, you've heard murmurs of the NFA going away. Well, I think it's on a fast track to go away. It'll go down piece by piece, but I think it's going down. And you can put me on record as saying that. You can put me on record too when I tell you how I think it's going to come about and what pieces are going to fall first. And I'm usually pretty right. So we'll see. I don't know. You guys can tell me I told you so if it doesn't, but should be pretty cool. Anyhow, so yeah, if you give us a super chat, that would be tremendous. Let's see who's in here. Gosh, the world's upside down. Chase Kelly is first. My man Chase, that's okay. I'm sure Joe's going to come in here somewhere. He's been sleepy lately. He's been, he's a little tired. He's got to get a little extra rest. He's doing so many videos over there on his channel. He's got to get some extra rest, but that's okay. Happy Tuesday to you too, Chase. Who else? Squeaky Cooler is in early, man. They've been getting in late, but they always show up. I just love that name, Squeaky Cooler. I have this mind's eye picture of that cooler in my head and what they're doing when it's squeaking and all that stuff. I don't know. Like the name. Out at the moment, but headed home shortly. Looking forward to catching more shortly when I get in. See, they're always a little late. True American Loretta, there she's here. How are you? Good to have you. She was brought in by Joe. Joe does a lot with bringing new people into the fold, teaching about the tools we love and how to use them safely and how to spend your money wisely when it comes to that. Who else is in here? Orion Fixer, happy haircut. Yeah, it was getting a bit shaggy, wasn't it? Plus summer's coming, and you know what's weird? When you get old and you start getting a lot of gray hair, and you can really see my gray when my hair's longer. I will say I never complain about my gray because as long as I got hair, I'm good to go. It's that I couldn't handle going bald. I just couldn't. I don't know. I got a lot of it. That's never going to happen. I'm not even light up here. Everything is like I was 18 years old. But what happens here is you get all this gray, and it's not that you got a weird haircut or shaved in here. It's just, it's translucent because of all the gray. So when it's short, it looks weird. It looks like a Forrest Gump cut, doesn't it? Like a box of chocolates. Your haircut, you never know what you're going to get. But no, I got a nice young lady that does mine, and she does an awesome job. And I hadn't been able to get in there. I missed an appointment with all the running I was doing and slept right through it on my day off. And I had to pay the price for another 2 weeks. So yeah, it was looking a little shaggy. So when a viewer brings it up that I've got a haircut, well, it was getting long. Anyhow, yes, I did get a haircut. And my summer cut now goes year round because I can't stand sweating. So whatever. Who else is in here? Tex Bullington. Evening to you too. Who else And then I'm going to jump right into things. Oregon AR-15. You bet there is an agenda. You think? Absolutely. Folks, between everything that's went on with health and community and economy and the push, this huge push, and the resets and everything else, if you don't think that there's been an agenda with the whole thing, then I can't help you. I just can't. I saw a list somebody laid out the other day over the last 3 years. Boom, 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 boom. And I'm not going to say them because you know what'll happen. But even I looked at that list and went, my God, I can't believe it. It seems so long ago already, but it's not. And it just keeps coming. So you're constantly dealing with something else. And it's like, when is it just going to settle down? But that's what they want. They want the chaos. They want you, you're constantly running, constantly going, the next catastrophe. And that's what they want, chaos. And then the Savior shows up, to lead us all out of all these problems. And that, unfortunately, my friends, is the downfall. So you got to be careful. Pay attention to what needs to be paid attention to and forget all the crap, all that static you hear in the background from the mainstream media, from everybody. And I'm not just talking about the CNNs of the world. I'm talking about Fox too. Talking about a lot of channels. Dig deep, dig really deep. Find new news sources. Go out and grab it. Pay attention to things. Look at the other side. Look at your side. Look at everything and make your own decision. You're smart people. You wouldn't be here. You wouldn't be on the other channels you follow if you weren't smart, because you know something's up and you want to stay ahead of it. Let's see. Oregon NWO wants us disarmed. If you don't believe in the NWO, just go to the UN's website. Check out, what is it, Project 40, 15-minute cities, all that good stuff. Go check it out. It's all right there. People don't believe it. They lay it all out. They tell you what they're doing, what they want. The test projects that are going on in London right now, Oxford, city in Texas even. You don't believe digital currency is coming? It's coming. The U.S. is testing it right now. Government IDs countrywide. Real ID was the first part of it. Now there's going to be a real ID. Social credit scores, don't think they're coming? They're coming. Promise you. It's in the works. They tell you right there all about it. The ID thing is probably going to be here by the end of 25. You got to fight all of this. All of it. We're going to get into guns. I'm going to tell you one more thing, then we'll get back into the guns real quick. One more thing. You drive to work. You go to the grocery store. You go to school, drop the kids off. You go on vacation. You're on your way to work. You got your coffee. You're driving. You get to the first stoplight. And you're sitting there listening to the radio, and you look up. And what's facing you? A camera, right? Driving down the highway, you're getting on the highway at a ramp. Oh, another camera. You drive through an intersection. Oh, there's another one. There's another one on the pole over there. You pull in Home Depot and, oh, look at that. Out in the parking lot, all these cameras. You walk into Tractor Supply, and right in front of you as you walk in, there's a camera up there. And, oh, the service desk is right over here to the left. As you walk past that camera, and sometimes they'll put a TV screen right up there. But I looked over the other day, and on the monitor on the service counter was the video of me walking in. And what happens? A box pops up around my face. Facial recognition. And they're in the parking lot. And license plate scanners and everything else. Guys, I do a lot of advertising for the business I run. And it's all digital. If I showed you the analytic reports and what I can do to target you when you are in the process of buying something, I know what you want to buy before you want to buy it. How's that sound? And I see your license plate. I know where you pass at 8:30 every day. License plate NW2567 whatever passes by this point on the road every day between 8:30 and 8:40 a.m. I can even weed it down by saying, well, if it passes here in that hour, 5 days a week, they're probably going to work there. So we won't advertise to them. It's a waste of money. But everyone else going there, they're coming in, they're customers. I know when you walked in. I know where your phone was. I know where your car was. I know everything. I know what you bought. I know what you looked at, what you searched, and it all funnels down to go ding, 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 ding. They're going to buy within the next 2 days. Did you know that when people buy a new house, they usually buy a new car within 60 days? That's almost a given. It's unbelievable the amount of information I get just from my ad agency, just from Google Analytics. It's unbelievable. For those of you that don't deal with that in your day-to-day job, ask someone you know that buys, purchases advertising, what they can tell you. Your jaw will drop. It's scary. It's scary, scary, scary. There's license plate readers everywhere, cameras everywhere, facial recognition everywhere. And here's the point I wanted to hit. Did it ever occur to you who paid for all those cameras? Who put them up? What company and who paid that company? And last but not least, did the thought ever cross your mind? Where's all that video going? Who's it going to? Do you have a channel you can go to and pull it up and watch Manitowish Avenue, and watch the cars go by? I don't know of such a channel. Where's it going? I think we all think, well, it's going to that big police station downtown. And there's people staring at it going, oh, what's that? What are you doing? Right? We all think it's going there. Must be going to the police so they can see when a bank robber is, which direction they're going or something. What about the cameras in the parking lots? The facial recognition all over, everywhere. Hey, the U.S. is first again. We finally passed China. We have more cameras in use in the United States than China does. And we all know what happened with their cameras and what they do, right? Ask yourself that question. Who passed the law to put them out there, or did they pass a law? Who pays for them? Who paid for them to buy them, put them up, maintain them? And where does it all go? And how come some companies get access to it, but you and I can't? Make you think, huh? I couldn't tell you. I don't know where they go. I have no idea. But I know whoever it is, I didn't authorize them. And I'm a little worried. What if there's somebody that wants to do me harm? I don't know. Anybody got the answers? Think about that. There's a guy that's tried to trace it down. In his area, he did. It's very convoluted. There's things that lead one direction to a dead end. And he said that if you want to do it in your town, he'll give you hints as to how. And if you hit dead ends, email him and he'll tell you where to look. I haven't done that. But if you live in a smaller town that doesn't have them yet, going to your city council meetings and start asking questions. Hey, I noticed we don't have cameras. I want to keep it that way. Have we been approached about this? Has the town been approached? Anything passed? Ask questions. Find out, because you don't want them. If they're not there yet, if you are lucky enough not to have them yet, you want to keep it that way. Because at the end of the day, all of this is great information to have, and safety. It's always done in the safety. Children, safety, the elderly. You hear those three things, run, vote the opposite way. It's not for that, because when that power falls into the wrong hands, it's all about control. I promise you. If it's not in your town, take a good look tomorrow, your way to work or wherever you're going. Check it out. Very scary. It's kind of a rabbit hole I've went down recently. And, I don't just watch propaganda stuff. I dig deep. I read. Videos are a great way to get the surface, but you don't always know where it's coming from, what you're getting. You got to dig in and read. Go to page 6 of the search results, page 8, page 9. You'll find stuff that you don't think might matter, but all of a sudden there's some little tidbit in there. And it takes a lot of time, and sometimes it's boring, but you got to dig in. You're right. They're not fooling anyone because people are smarter than that. We enjoy our liberties. We enjoy our privacy. And that's what we want. We want to do our thing and be left alone, right? It only takes one generation, though, to get used to that and think, oh, that's just how it is. They don't know what liberty is anymore. The end of, let's see. Chinese president said, armed America is a problem that will soon be taken care of, not even trying to hide the true intent. Absolutely. Think about it. Joe is in the house. He made it. Awesome. And Martin made it on time too. All right. So we're through. Looks like we got a lot of regulars here and nobody knew. I keep wondering about that. It's got to get out there, right? The algorithm must put it out there. We get likes, 100% likes for the viewers we have. Are they showing it? Is it going out? Or are we talking about stuff that they don't want to be repeated? I got to ask myself that. Why does it not get out there? Am I that boring? Are our topics that weird? I don't know. Tell me. Is it just such a small thing? I don't know. We talk about a lot of fun stuff, right? Started off with the gloves, and I told you my main push today was to give you some good news because we need some good news, right? And the good news is we have had a ton of wins, ladies and gentlemen. And for once, I actually wrote some notes so I don't miss anything. There's just so much going on, and I actually didn't even get to complete it, but we'll get through them all, and you guys will mention in the comments here things you want to talk about regarding it, so I'm sure we can fill in all the blanks here. But there's been so much bad going on. The ATF redefining things, and by doing that, creating pseudo laws, right? Which Congress is the only one that can make laws. But when the ATF comes out with a definition, it's essentially a law, right? And they don't have that right. They don't have that right. And that's what we need to stop. And the biggest redefinitions and rulings that they've come out with are essentially all covered in the same boat. So you knock one down and it helps the next one fall and the next one fall because they're all related to the same subject, redefining. And they just can't do that. As a bureaucratic agency, they don't have that power. Only Congress has it. But outside of that, there's been some other big wins too. And in California, they've been fighting this longer than anyone, right? For years and years and ever, California has been the state that when you wanted to talk about gun control or how bad things could get, you just looked to California, right? To see your future, sort of. Well, I think the future is changing a bit because things out there aren't doing so well. And Governor Newcomb, he is, God, I hate that guy. Just annoying, smiling little bastard. Nobody annoys me more than just looking at him annoys me. But he realizes that everything's falling. The magazine bed, he's come out and said it. It's all falling. It's all going away. But California's had something called the California Firearm Roster. And it's been there for years, decades even. And what it did was list the guns that citizens could own. If it wasn't on that roster, you couldn't own it. Why? Because they're more dangerous. Funny though, their police officers could have them. And that roster had certain guns, due to capacity, due to other features, safety features, that let them allow you to own it. They gave you permission. Things like a loaded chamber indicator, a drop safety, micro stamping was one. Micro stamping doesn't even exist. The technology still isn't out there for it, whereby every time a projectile was fired out of it, it would stamp on that a mark that could bring it back to the gun. Well, that technology doesn't exist, but it was on there, right? And what happened was, part of the law was, if a new gun was put on the roster, let's say a new gun came out and it had all these features and it would make the roster. Well, for one to come on the roster, 2 had to come off. So think about that, guys. Put a new one on. Let's say there's 10 on there. There were more, but revolvers. You're very limited in California. And what does that do? Companies don't market there because they can't sell there. They're losing a ton of money because they can't. It's a massive state, massive population that they just can't sell their wares to. But for everyone that went on, 2 came off. So let's say, just for numbers, that there were 10 guns on the roster and a new one comes on. So that would make 11, right? But 2 had to come off. So now you're down to 9. And now another one gets added. That makes 10 again. But you got to take 2 off. Now you're down to 8. Eventually, there's no guns left on the roster, even though you put a new one on. Right? Huh. What did I say earlier? The agenda is to 100% disarm the populace. That law there proves it, right? At least in handguns. But yeah, just an absolutely ridiculous law. Well, I'll have you know that they shot it down today. It is no more. Now, they put a 14-day window on it. So you can't just run out and buy anything right now if you live in California. They're going to revisit it in 14 days because, well, there's going to be an appeal, I'm sure. The appeals court, Supreme Court, this and that. So they're still in for a fight. But you may get a restraining order out of it. I don't know. But they got to go through all the motions still. Will they speed it along? Hopefully. And why is this able to be done? Well, because of Bruin. Tradition. Is it part of American tradition, dating back to early history of America, that you could have a list of what you could own and what you couldn't? No, there's never a list. There's no precedent, essentially, in our history. So, and if it's not in the written portion of the Constitution, then it's gone, right? Well, that's gone. That's a huge, monstrous win, along with what happened with their magazine ban and everything. Those are huge wins. The big news is, the 2 that really stick in everyone's craw, that are nationwide, were these redefining moments of the ATF, their frame and receiver rule, and of course the pistol brace rule. Everybody's hoping for a restraining order, right? Until they work it all out. And frankly, I think most of us were hoping that we would see one already, right? While there's this amnesty period. Well, you've seen some that may affect small areas, but not everybody. So the good news is the frame and receiver ruling. Polymer 80 brought a lawsuit along with other people, and they won. Not only did they win, but the ATF took an ass whooping, and I mean an ass whooping. We'll get into their reaction, and this is why I'm talking about this. My main focus is going to be the ATF's reaction to it, because you're not going to believe this. And because of their reaction, I almost thought, do I even want to talk about this on here? Because frankly, it's kind of scary. But you know what? If we fear our government, then we most certainly have tyranny. So I'm not going to fear it. What happens, happens, right? But I'm certainly not going to change um, my beliefs, and I'm not going to change my principles, because if I do, then I'm not worth the paper that the Constitution is written on. You can't pick and choose when it comes to those things. You're either a patriot, a freedom fighter, a a rule of law type of person, or you're not. And if you're not, if you're willing to exchange a little bit of your freedom for a little comfort right now, like Ben Franklin said, yeah, think about it. Don't give up anything. You're either all in. There's no dipping your toes in the water. You're either in or you're out. You're either in or you're out. You don't deserve those freedoms if that's how you feel. And that's okay. Not everybody has a stomach for it. But the founding fathers sure did, and a lot of other people do. And every person that has fought for those freedoms deserves that, those principles out of you, because they went and did it for you. Generations of them did it for you. And I think it's a slap in the face to every one of those people, some of which were my family members, my grandfathers, my son, friends, lots of my son's friends. I appreciate them so much, you have no idea. I can't put into words how much I appreciate those men and women. Um, I'm the kind of guy that when the national anthem plays, um, the back of my neck tingles and I get a tear in my eye. And when I hear stories of heroism and things that these people have done and sacrificed, um, I'm not afraid to tell you, they can make me cry. I care for this country that much. I don't think I ever realized how much I truly, truly love this country and everything it stands for and the people that made it what it is. Um, Perfect strangers, for that matter. It's just a wonderful thing, and it's a wonderful thing to be able to be part of that, and to feel the way I feel. I hope each and every one of you have those feelings. I think you do. I think if you're here, I think most of you do. Um, it's one of those things maybe some people don't talk about. They feel a little funny talking about it, or maybe you don't feel as much of a man or something. Well, no, it has nothing to do with that. It's a good thing. So don't worry about it. You want to get other people to feel the same way. You want to shout it from the mountaintops how proud you are of the great things this country does, can do, has done, and what we need to continue to do, not to be what we are right now. Not us, but some people running this country, because they're not. They're the enemy, frankly, many of them. And there's some great people. There's some great politicians out there that want to do the right thing and are working really hard for it. We've got to do it legally. We've got to do it within the bounds of our legal system. Um, Never ever take anything I say as me promoting any violence or anything like that. That's just simply not the case. Whether it's through outsmarting them, whether it's through just working harder like most Americans do, and fighting them through every legal channel we can. Freedom it's hard, right? because those freedoms are also given to the enemy, right? They can use it against us. And, it's often said, I don't believe in your cause or your thoughts, but I'll die defending your right to do that, right? And that's hard. That's really hard sometimes to even justify in your mind, right? But if you're going to be one of these people, that's what you need to do. And that's what makes this country so great, and our Constitution so great, and our founding documents, and the amazing ability for our founding fathers to think like that. This great experiment, right? Pretty neat. As And we fought a war to free these people and give them the rights that everybody else has. We didn't think that was right. Funny, there's not another country in the world's done that. Just us. Anyhow, this frame and receiver thing. Yeah. Palmer 81 today. Judge read out his statement and all, and he agreed that their business was put in jeopardy, everything, and that the redefinition, I mean, basically the ATF said anything you own can be a firearm, you know. I guess maybe a roll of tinfoil, maybe a pry bar in your toolbox, maybe a hunk of plastic, anything could be a firearm. And they said that's just not the case, right? They define what a firearm is and isn't in the I'm having a blank in the in the Gun Control Act. They define what it is, right? And they basically said that kits that can be, all the terminology you've heard, readily made, restored, et cetera, and they redefined all that. Well, that's just not the case. You and I know what is and isn't a firearm. And we all know that certain products and kits can't just be zip, zap, zoom, done with a $30 drill and you got yourself a new tool, right? I've tried in the past. I had a Polymer 80 kit years ago. I'm a pretty handy guy. I've been a mechanic. I know how to operate tools. I know how to form metal. I know how to fix just about anything. And it was going along pretty good after hours of work and a lot of investment in some tools to do it. And I was just about done. And I'm following their directions. That's the other thing. If they put directions, they're advertising. They just how this all products advertised can be the difference between it being a firearm or not. That not only did that go against your First Amendment rights, but that's a whole other part rabbit hole of this. But I'm working on this thing and it's going pretty good. And in a blink of an eye, zip, the drill grabbed and the channels where the pins for the fire control group would go were now off to the side and the whole thing's junk. Threw it out, threw it in the garbage can. So you can't tell me that things are just readily made or readily remade. It's not that easy. Talk about other stuff like AKs and all. That's not Legos putting stuff click, 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 and it goes together. No, that's manufacturing. And it's not done easily by anybody without a large investment in tools and all. Anyhow, I'm getting off the subject. Basically, they said, nope, those 80% frames and receivers, kits, all of that are not firearms. And he shot it down. He even said that Polymer 80 can be in business, go back to doing what they do best, and that all of its customers are able to buy those products now without fear of prosecution. And boy, the ATF didn't like that one. So yeah, Polymer 80 is back in business right now as we speak. And you can go on their website and buy one without fear of anybody coming after you. It's legal right now. Court said so. So yeah, they're taking pre-orders right now, I believe. And that's a wonderful thing, right? In his opinion, he did hammer the ATF pretty good too. He pounded them. Just told them how out of line they were. Well, this was yesterday, actually. And the ATF issued a response today. And in a nutshell, I'm just going to throw it out there. You can find it online. You can find many other videos about it. But they basically came out, you know what? We don't care what the court said. And we are going to investigate anybody, meaning company, etc., that is doing what we believe is illegal. Meaning they're going to come back and crawl up Polymer 80's behind with a microscope. And maybe it's customers. Who knows, right? That takes a lot of balls, right? To come out and just say, we don't care what the court says. This is what we're doing. This is our opinion, and we're going to do it. If that doesn't sound like ultimate tyranny, like brown shirts, like we don't care, we're going to do it. We're going to come in. We're going to kick your door in. We're going to shoot your dog. We're going to drag you out in front of your wife and children in the middle of the night. We're going to lock you up. And then we'll figure out what we're going to do. Maybe we'll keep you for a year or two without a trial. Maybe, who knows? You know, is it like a disappear thing like China maybe? I mean, I granted, I'm stretching it here, but if they can come out and say that in writing, then what else can they do? That's unbelievable. Isn't this still the US of A, where we follow our court system and the decision of those courts, those judges? Man, I don't know. It's pretty clear. It's laid out there. Well, all of this stuff that we're talking about is changing the public's perception, both gun owners, non-gun owners. People are looking at this and going, wow, I've never seen anything like this. I haven't seen anything like this. And it's worrying just the general public. So it's changing the opinion. You know, they could have handled this so much different and kept at least some people behind them, backing them as a law and order agency. But I think everybody is just seeing through this. And they're sick of it. They're done. Look at just the comments out there about this agency. It's unbelievable. People want it gone. They want it done, over with. And they've just done themselves such an injustice. They thought, well, I think they were scared. They were scared that all these laws and changes that they thought were just going to, go right through and nobody was going to bother with them. I don't think they expected it. When it did, they pushed harder and they went across that line. And it's falling. It's caving in. It's imploding. What's going to go next? I don't know. Pistol brace for sure. That's going to happen. That's going to go away. You'll get a restraining order on that nationwide. No problem. That's going to happen. Is the NFA going to go away? I think so. I think it'll go in pieces. I don't think they'll just... But the first part of it that's going to go away is silencers. For sure. Hey, Texas has already said, hey, Mr. Government, since when do you have a right to tell us what to do, what we do inside our state? We're not using your highways and crossing state lines and interstate commerce and all of this. We're not doing that. This is our business right here in the good old state of Texas. We're doing it the Texas way, and you have nothing to say about that. They don't like that either. ATF doesn't like that either. They don't like being told what to do. They like their power. They want to keep it. Well, they're not hanging on to it. They're going to lose it. The more they push, the farther they fall. I got to hand it to Matt over at, what is it, CRF Firearms. Here's a kid that, a couple of years ago, even now, didn't have two nickels to rub together. Was running a resale shop, got an FFL, and stepped on the wrong toes and got, in my opinion, caught up in this thing and some really bogus charges thrown at him. And they thought he'd lay down like everybody else and take a plea deal and whatever. But he didn't. And since he had a small following even, the word got out there. And people backed him. And attorneys backed him. And everything else. And he fought it. And I watched one of his videos, and like he said, if win, lose, draw, go to jail, get off, whatever, people still know about it, and they'll always know about it and know how it went down and how shitty it was. And they go, wow, if they could do that to this kid in Wisconsin with a couple babies and a wife just trying to get by, good guy, not the bad guy, what could they do to me, right? And it doesn't get forgotten. It's amazing. It's amazing what's happening, guys. You're living in one of the greatest times of, I want to say change, but I guess it's change, but it's not change, or back to how it should be. Everything's realigning. Now, a monkey wrench could get thrown in the middle of that at any moment. God knows the way things work. But the things they're starting to fall like dominoes. On the silencer thing, what states do you most think you would never, ever be able to buy a suppressor in, or they would even think of changing the law in to own a suppressor? Name a state. Well, you wouldn't think California, New York, right? How about Illinois? There is a lawsuit right now that they're going to, or a bill they're going to introduce in Illinois. They've been working on it for years. And it's an organization, essentially a lobbying organization that's working, I believe, with Silencer Co. And they wanted to do it in years past. They almost had it through at one point. And I lived down there before, and I had never heard of it all the years I was there. But now with Bruin and all this other stuff, it looks like they're going to push it through. So if it can fall there in this Texas thing, it can certainly fall out of the NFA, along with SBRs, right? SBR, the whole deal with that is it was originally meant to get rid of pistols, right? But when that didn't happen, they kept the shotgun thing in there and the short barrel rifle sort of out of laziness, or it was overlooked kind of. It was meant they wanted to ban pistols because that's what all the gangland members were using back then. And it kind of just got left in there. And that's gonna fall too with this whole brace thing and everything. That's gonna go away. Will you see machine guns come back? I don't know. If it does, that's the last piece. Maybe will they open up the registry? Will you still need a tax stamp? I don't know. This whole tax thing, I think, is it's been fought before. You can't tax a right, that kind of thing. So what's a stamp? They all knew when they were passing this whole thing with SBRs and all of the tax stamps, they all knew it was illegal, that it was unconstitutional. They knew they had a problem. They even stated so when they were talking about and having the debates back and forth about passing it. They all knew that that was illegal. So will that go away, and will that create the whole thing fall? I don't know. But I think you're going to see the mass of it all just go away. Look, in the Fifth Circuit, you won the bump stock ban. That's no longer a thing. There's a restraining order, and/or it's legal now down there in those states. Will they challenge it? I don't know, because if it goes to the Supreme Court, it'll certainly be found unconstitutional. And so they may not challenge it because they don't want it to get that far. That's the shitty thing about this, right? They know these things are unconstitutional. They pass them. You got to fight them. They work their way up. It takes a super long a period of time. Plus, there's all these things about pushing it that high to get the ruling that affects the whole country, right? So it's pseudo de facto gun bans. It really is. It's a terrible thing. There needs to be legislation passed about that. Maybe if I read you guys a statement last week that should be part of every one of these bills, that if it's found unconstitutional, those that signed on to it, there's a price to pay, right? That might get rid of it. But who knows? But until then, all these things are falling. They're all falling. And there's more coming real soon. I mean, that these decisions are coming down. We already know they're coming down. It's just when, and it's soon. So you're going to see a lot more good stuff coming down real fast. That's why I haven't talked much about it. I haven't gotten deep into the brace thing, some of the assault weapon bans, the pistol receiver thing, because they're going to go away. They're just going to go away. So hang in there. You don't want to be part of a registry, right? Although we know there is one. They've admitted to it, but they say, well, it's not searchable. Well, with the click of a button, it's searchable. Let me ask you this. You buy a gun, you do your background check and everything, and suddenly the ATF is showing up at your door saying, hey, we know you bought this on such and such a date from here. Well, if they have all that information, isn't there a registry, right? Can no longer destroy the records after X amount of time. They have to be turned over. Gun shop goes out of business. They got to be turned over. They digitalized it all. It's not, there's not, 5,000 shipping containers out back of the ATF filled with bankers boxes back there somewhere that they got to dig through. Nope. It's all digitized and it's all there. And that needs to be completely 100% destroyed. And there's got to be some accountability in the destruction process, that it is, in fact, gone. As far as digital, I even have opinions on the digital background check system that you may see at some big box stores and all this. It's supposed to be deleted in 24 hours and all of that. I don't think any of it should be digital. None of it. I say stick with the call-in system. That's it. Stick with the call-in system. I almost think it should be maybe encrypted somehow when they run it. And all you get is a yay or a nay kind of thing, and that information isn't there on the screen as far as names and addresses and types of firearms and all that. Should be encrypted and then poof, gone. Obviously, they'd have to punch it in digitally somewhere, but it should be as little as possible. Actually, what I believe is there shouldn't be a background check system. Should not be. Constitution doesn't say it. You didn't have a background check system in the history of the country, not until recently. So if you go back, there's no historical precedence for it. There shouldn't be one, right? Um, that's my opinion. People say, well, what do you mean? Mass murderers should be able to walk in and buy a gun? No, absolutely not. If you are a felon and you've committed a crime, then absolutely not. You should not be able to own a firearm. Well, then how are you going to keep them from them? Well, here's the deal. If you're a felon and you committed a crime, you get sentenced, you go to prison. Whatever that sentence is, 5 years, 10 years, 50 years, 100 years, life, death, whatever. Once that person served their time and they paid their debt to society and they're let out, they paid their debt to society, period. Rights reinstated. They can go out and buy a firearm. They can vote. They can do all these things. That's my opinion. If you believe that that person shouldn't have a firearm because he committed a crime, maybe a violent crime, served his time and is now out, and you believe he shouldn't have a firearm, then why'd you let him out? That's what you ask yourself. If you don't believe that that person is trustworthy enough, is not changed, whatever, then he shouldn't be out. That's the test. Should he be afforded the rights he had prior to committing whatever crime it is? Should he have those back now? Is he trustworthy enough? No? Then he's in prison, period. Oh, he got let out early on good behavior. And okay, if you're going to do that, wonderful, wonderful. Maybe they'll change. Know that when you let them out, their rights are restored, they can do that. Seems only fair to me. I don't know. If they're too scary, then why are you letting them out? That's how it should be. That's how it should be. That solves it. After all, it's not the guns that are the problem, it's the people that use them in the wrong way, right? Go after the criminals, not the that are used. They'll find a way, right? You know, more people are killed every year with fists and feet, with hammers, with whatever, than are killed by firearms. Take suicide out of it, and the number is so low, it's ridiculous that we're even talking about it. That all this time, energy, money, everything has got to be put toward this one subject, when in the grand scale of things, it means nothing. And no, I'm not minimizing the lives lost because of it. Every life matters, right? It's nobody wants to lose a family member, a son, a daughter, due to a crime. But it has nothing to do with the tool used to do it. It has to do with the person using that implement. That's all. Anyhow, that's some really, really good news. That roster falling in California, the frame and receiver ban, Polymer 80 back in business. You want to go buy one, get on their list, go buy one. Build yourself something. Hey, awesome, awesome, awesome. There's still some good courts out there, and they can appeal it from now till doomsday, and that decision's gonna stand. Period. As will the brace thing, and as will these assault weapon bans. So when the left gets scared and they see that the plan is failing in this respect, what are they going to do then? What are they going to do then? I'll tell you what they're going to do next. They're going to pack the court. That's why these next elections are so, so important. And how do you fight all this? You fight locally. That is your strongest point. You need to be fighting on the school boards, on your town boards, county, state. That's what makes the biggest difference. That's what does it. So make sure you get involved. Let's check in on the chat here. Where did my glasses go? I can't see a damn thing anymore. Da, 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 da. Oh boy, there's all kinds of stuff going on here. Let's see. We said Joe's in the house. Mark made it on time. If I want an all expense trip to California, I would not go. Me neither. My airline pilot buddy told me there are burns under every bridge in Southern California. Oh, bums under every bridge. Yeah. So my wife recently went to Seattle to visit a dear friend. And they actually live on an island, I guess, off of Seattle, off the coast. I can't remember the name of it. But yeah, Seattle, it's demolished. Absolutely demolished. There's homeless everywhere. There's encampments everywhere. You look on the side of a mountain and there's tarps everywhere. They have tarped off in huge expanses of blue tarp and set them up in the trees. Hundreds of people living. It's unbelievable. And that same friend recently came here to visit. And my wife and her met when they were kids living down in Illinois. So they were going to go to Chicago for the weekend to go to some of the old restaurants they liked and some other stuff. And my wife said, "Are you sure we want to go? You know, it's not like you remember it and it's dangerous." She says, "I got nothing on Seattle. If I'm okay in Seattle, I'll be okay there." Think about that. And most of Southern California, it's demolished. It's not the same place. I remember San Francisco, going there as a kid, Fisherman's Wharf, having dinner there and cool stuff. And it was always a quirky place. You know, they had all the street performers, and I remember seeing like puppet shows and funny stuff they did, and strange acts and things, tricks they were doing. But it was safe. It was cool. It was a tourist area. It was beautiful. Fisherman's Wharf, and the fog would roll in at night, and lots to see and do. And it's just absolutely destroyed. Absolutely destroyed. It's unreal. Never would I have thought that. San Diego, La Jolla was a beautiful place. And for some of these places they've kept it out of, but it's pushed up to their doorstep. I mean, it's amazing. As a veteran, I am proud to give a hand salute when the national anthem plays. I earned that. Yes, you did, sir. As an old Marine, taps really gets the waterworks going. Also, the Vietnam Wall in D.C. I don't think until somebody looks at that wall and that expanse and just the medium, right? That cold stone and the order, the perfect order of the names, and that they just go on and on and on and on and on. And when you see it in that vast expanse and just it hits you of how many names are there, and that each one of those etchings or carvings was a son, a father, a friend, a brother, a daughter, a grandson. It's unbelievable how many lives were touched on every one of those names. And there's thousands and thousands and thousands. And it just goes off into the distance as you look down it. And if you haven't seen it, you need to. There's some absolutely great YouTube content out there. that you need to watch. The Sean Ryan channel. Some of the stories he has SEALs on there and other operators telling the events, and they'll talk about monstrously heroic, unbelievable acts of things they did, and they talk about it like, hey man, it's just my job, this is what it did, and you're just, your mouth's open, you're shaking your head, and you're thinking, this man's just a giant. He's just, and he should be put on a pedestal, and songs should be sung about him, and they think nothing of it. It's their job. It's their duty. And they do it again and again and again and again. And how those actions changed not only the lives of the people involved, but of everyone. And when you think about it that way, it's mind-boggling. And these people weren't people that signed up because they wanted to go to college or they wanted to get a signing bonus or something like that. These were people that had a lot of thought and a lot of feelings and heart that went into it. It's different for those people. And I don't know. It's just, I don't think when we hear it in passing or it comes and you see something on the news, they show it, or documentary, it doesn't do it justice. And when you see it in person, that's why I want to go to Normandy so bad. The plan was that I was going to be there this year, and our plans changed a little bit, but I'm going to get there. And I just can't. I wish you could. I could be standing there overlooking the surf, and it's peace and calm and birds and whatnot and green grass, and go like this and be put right in the middle of it. Just boom. And oh my God. And just to, for a moment, just feel the emotion of 5 seconds that went on those landing beaches, from the fear, the sorrow, the everything. It'd be overwhelming. I think just seeing the cemeteries there would be overwhelming. I'm sure it drops people to their knees there. It's an amazing thing what this country did, and will do again, I'm sure. Yeah, it's history you can feel, that you can see, that's not that long ago. I think my kids think that World War II is some ancient historic thing. Well, when I was born, it was 20 years before that. That's nothing. It's nothing. That's the difference between now and when my first child was born. That short period. It's nothing. I talked to my grandfathers that were there. You could walk in a store and buy all the equipment that was left over from there. You could go to VFWs and see the tanks out front and all the other stuff. There were vehicles that people owned and driven around and stuff from there. It was all over. It was so close. And Vietnam was going on. And they think Vietnam is some long ancient history, but it's not. And the people that fought these wars, these conflicts, are there. I'm still here, thank God, some of them. And that's not taking anything away from some of the modern conflicts and the people that fought there at all, not at all. I think they get it, they saw it, the younger generation I'm talking about. But to them, it may be almost too close. They don't, I don't know. I don't know. It just, something is that changed the universe, frankly, like World War II did. Amazing. Let's see. Adelaide, I think we know who's running the show, but no one can say it. Pushing us to World War III with Russia as well. Who is a great reset? Okay, just got in. I will catch up with prior conversation in the morning. The devil or Soros or BRICS, all are evil. I think they may be in charge. Exactly as you said, Chris. If you guys have a question as to, who's pushing the agenda and all that, it's very simple. It's very simple. People, if you're debating these things, people go, well, who are they? Because people say, well, they're doing this and they're doing that. Who's they? That's the question they always say to the people that don't believe what's going on or that there is a they, right? It's very simple. Very, very simple. Or you'll hear them referred to as the elites or the NWO or whatever. But it's very simple. You want to know who the players are? Who's pushing it? It's very simple. There was just a meeting, the World Economic Forum, and there were all kinds of people there, right? Well, guess what? Everyone that attended that conference, that's who they are. That's them. 3 things you want gone. You want to get rid of all of this? Get rid of the World Economic Forum, the WHO, the World Health Organization, and get out of the UN, kick them out of this country, and end it once and for all. Those 3. Defund them. Gone. Pass laws in your state that no laws, edicts, decrees, demands, anything passed by those 3 organizations can be implemented in your state. There is one state that has led the way on it, and they did it with the World Health Organization is the one they did. They need to do all of them. And I want to say, who was it? You'd think it was Montana, but it wasn't. I think it was either Utah maybe or, damn it, South Dakota. One of them, but one state recently passed that because we are about to turn over all power, basically, in the event of another mass pandemic. We're about to turn over all power to the World Health Organization in the event of another one of these. We will have to follow their demands, their everything that they decree or pass down, that we'll have to follow it. We're about to pass that in the U.S. And one state is seeing through it, and more need to. World Economic Forum, WHO, and the UN. Don't believe about the UN? Go look at their website, Project 40, whatever it is. It's all laid out there. That's the or Project 40 or 400 or whatever. That's all the cities involved in these 15-minute cities. It's all there. The mayors of those cities have videos. Each one of them did a video. It's on the UN website. Go look. They read. They tell you, what are they? Here's what they are. What's the plan? Here's the plan. How are we getting there? Here's what we're going to do. It's laid out. All of it. All of it. It's not conspiracy theory. Search it here. There's videos everywhere. It's on the news every night now. I told you guys about this months ago. It's legit. If you don't believe it, take 5 minutes and go do it. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. How do you get it started? How do you get your state started to pass laws to not have to follow the orders of these organizations? Start asking questions of your state representatives, your senators, your local mayors, county boards, town boards. Just start asking questions. Hey, what have you heard about this, this, and this? Well, nothing. Okay. Well, do you know what they are? Well, either do I, but I've heard a few things and I want to find out more about it so that we don't fall into this, because I've really heard some bad sides of this thing. I think we should look into this, and I'll catch up with you at the next meeting. Start bringing it up. Start bringing it up. Wasn't long ago that if you did, they'd look at you like some whack job. But there's enough information out there now. In my opinion, it's probably almost ruining the plan, right? But don't believe that they're going to put essentially a Fed coin out there. Nope, it's going to happen. And your country mandatory national ID, that's coming. Why? National ID, electronic currency, they can control everything. They can, what you can buy, how much you can buy, when you can do it, where you can go, how you can travel, all of it. Am I saying it's happening in 12 months, 24 months? No, but bits and pieces of it. I'm not worried about me. I'll be long gone when it's all there. But your kids, for sure, 100%, if a stop isn't put to it. Start looking now, because you can do it. We have to do it now, or it's over. I'm telling you. Why do you think this big economic thing? Why do you think the reset? Why do you think all of it? Everything people thought was a laugh has happened. 3 years ago, you wouldn't have believed any of it, but it's all happened. It's sad. I laugh, but it's a scared laugh, you know. Information's the only way you can get it out there, guys. That's how change happens. And how do we get on all this? Because we like to collect and shoot guns, and we love our country and Second Amendment. How do we get on all this? Because it's the one thing that protects us from all of that. It would all happen if we as a country were disarmed right now. And I'll even say, if the U.S. was disarmed, other countries still had this and that, it would still happen. It would happen immediately. We're the only thing standing between it. Australia, gone. Great Britain, gone. Canada, gone. Their guns are gone. The most of Europe, South Africa, most of your Nordic countries, with very few exception and with huge laws surrounding the ownership of firearms, they're essentially gone. This is the last place that can fight it off. Pick a communist country, gone. China, gone. Russia, gone. Can they have guns? China, I don't know. I think probably zero. Russia, yes, they can have some, but very, very rare, far few between, and a ton of red tape and bureaucracy. And even then, if they don't want you to have it, guess what? You ain't getting it over there. A couple countries that have some great firearm freedoms. Czechoslovakia, one of them. Poland, some others. Usually countries that have fought off communism and kicked it out have some pretty decent laws because they've lived it. And you want to see what's coming, but worse? It amazes me that people that have immigrated here become citizens here from countries like Russia, like China, North Korea, Cuba, huge Cuba, Venezuela, Poland. Poland's huge. There's a ton of people here from Poland. They lived through some of the biggest atrocities that communism has put on any of the world. But you would think that these people would be speaking out right now and saying, look, guys, we've heard this. We've seen this before. We've seen it go down like this. This is what's coming. And you need to wake up now. They are the ones that need to be speaking out to people. and telling them what's coming down the pipe. Why aren't you? If you are a first generation person or family or group of people or friends that have come from one of these countries that have seen it happen, you need to be shouting from the top of the mountain what you saw, what this looks like, what it is, and be telling everyone that'll listen, and even some that won't. That's what you need to do. That's what you need to do. Food prices, food shortages, ridiculous amounts of food processing plants going up in flames, explosions, flocks being killed off, herds being killed off because of these supposedly some disease, right? You hear them every day in the news. And while some, I will admit, are normal, they just seem abnormal because there's more reporting on them right now. If you look at the statistics, and I have, some are absolutely normal. They just sound like, oh my God, that's huge, you know. Some have these statistics year in, year out. Some years a little worse, some years a little better, but it's kind of standard procedure. But others are huge differences, huge differences. I'm going to try to think of the channel. I'll have it for you next week. I want to say it's S5 Underground, something like that. He's an ex-intelligence officer, Army intelligence, I believe. And his job was to gain as much information about an area, maybe of conflict or an area we were going into or operating in, to gain as much knowledge of basically of like he was on the ground of the local area of operation, manufacturing, supply chain, food processing, energy, transportation, all these things he would look at and gain information that could be passed on to our armed forces. They did it through satellite photography. They did it through news organizations. They did it through standard reporting that was out there. And then there were some of the super secret squirrel stuff too, right? But through his knowledge of how he would gain that information when he was serving the country, he is still able to put a lot of it together through sources available to you and me, even just we don't know where to look, and he does. He passes that information on to you so you know where to look. He also gains all of that knowledge and then puts it into a medium that you can quickly digest and understand. So happenings around the world with transportation, with government, with economy, energy, food, all these things, shows all the events that have went on. He does a report every 2 weeks, shows it all, and tells you what's norm and what's not, lays out all his sources, so it's all legit. You can check every sources down in his description, and you can go in and read where he got it from, see where he got it from. And I haven't found any sources that aren't legit. But that's, you go look at it and you see, and then you decide for yourselves if in fact it's legit or not. I'm not here to push it on you. I'm just telling you where to find it. And you're smart enough that you'll get it. I promise you. Anyways, go check out his channel. You can go back and see a bunch of the videos. I forget if it's every week, every 2 weeks, he puts it out. But you go back 6 months or pick a date when such and such happened, maybe in your area, and you want to see how it affected it. Chances are even small stuff that you may not have even heard of in your area, he has in his reports on there. And it's amazing. From refinery fires, processing plants, packing plants, farms, you name it, train derailments, chemical plants, movements of troops around the world, movements of our troops and different assets, everything. And it's all put out there. And you see a pattern develop. Or maybe you don't see a pattern develop. And he helps you put it all together. It's amazing and it's eye-opening. And again, he doesn't push an agenda. I'll tell you what was really kind of scary, and he said the same thing. Recently, and that by recent I mean probably 30 days ago now, there was some things that were going on, things he brought up that he even said, folks, I don't have an answer for you. And he said, he's not fear mongering. He doesn't do that at all. He's very monotone through all of it. It's just him reporting it. He's not there to breed fear or stir up everything. And he said, I'm sorry, I just don't have an answer. And I don't want to tell you that I'm scared because I always have an answer and I don't. So I'm just not going to give an answer. I don't have an answer. And then he did say, and that's very strange to me, which means I'm a bit scared. And that was a bit shocking. That's the only thing I've ever went, oh my God, you know, but go check it out. It's a great channel. At least subscribe so you get some notifications, and then watch one or two, see what you think. If you don't find value in it, but I think you'll find some value in it, and it may at least alert you or give you enough time, whether it's a large agenda thing or small agenda that may affect you locally. Maybe it gives you enough head start to be a step ahead of the general population and thereby keeping you safe. But yeah, it's a really good channel. Country Boy Kale's here. Oregon AR-15 Fed coin with ESG is the downfall of our country. See? People have heard of it, guys. This is not conspiracy theory stuff. It's all out there. They're pushing it. I say it's coming. It's coming if nothing's done about it. And that it's still churning. Nothing is being done about it, or being done so slowly or so small a scale that, and is there like a point of no return? I guess. Do I know when that is? I don't know. I don't. I guess that's the thing that scares people, right? Is not feeling that you can't make a difference, or you can't control it, or it's beyond your scope somehow. Maybe it is beyond your scope, but what's not beyond your scope is local. Local is the most important. It starts locally. What happens locally has massive effects throughout the entire country. Eventually, what happens locally happens nationally, right? So just know that you can make a difference, informing and enough people. They're smarter people than me out there. They're smarter people than you. And those are the ones that we need the help from, right? To help figure it out. I'm just another tentacle mouthpiece to get the word out to you. I'll say that a lot of what you may find originally when you don't know what you're looking for could be absolute bullshit. But when you tune yourself in and look, read, and view enough of it, you can find your way through the trees. You know what I mean? Because you know what to look for. Um, and at the end of the day, just know that there are powers pushing this and that they have endless money and they have governments backing them and media backing them and all of this. My wife brought up a great point, a great point. And this is kind of on topic, kind of off, but we all have heard of TikTok, right? And oh, it's a terrible thing. You should take it off your phone. Chinese government owns it. When you click agree, they have rights to all your, well, not rights, but they can gather all their information that they want of what you're viewing, what's in your phone, this, that, the other. How deep that goes, who knows? I don't know, but there's a general consensus. It's probably not the smartest thing to have on your phone, right? And then there's things like YouTube Shorts and Facebook video. I don't go on Facebook anymore. I just don't. You won't see much on my Facebook channel anymore. So I don't tell you, hey, go check out our Facebook channel, because I just don't do it anymore. There's a lot of things I don't do anymore. If I was smart, I wouldn't be doing this anymore. I'm getting to that point, but I just feel it's principle that I have to. Even though I'm dancing with the enemy, sort of. But as long as they'll let me get part of it out there, I'll get it out to as many people as I can. Not very many, according to this. But again, that's powerful. 11 people that are in here right now know 10 people each. That's 100 people that know whatever. And people, these average things get maybe 400 views. I don't know. That's nothing, right? Anyhow, what was I saying? Damn it. What the hell was I saying? Oh, my wife's thing. So TikTok, Shorts, Instagram, all these things. You're watching these videos, right? They're thumbing through them, and they're funny memes or video shorts or whatever they are. And you get to the animal ones, right? And oh, you see the dogs doing funny things and the cats. Well, I see this huge thing lately, and partially it's because of again, they know what we like, what we're doing, what we're putting our attention toward, and we've had chickens in the past, lots of them. I had a big coop I had built years ago. It finally fell into such disrepair, we got rid of it. Coyotes and a neighbor's dog picked off the last chickens, and that was the end of it. We got more chickens coming. We always liked having them. We love the eggs. This is nothing new to us because of the egg thing. That may have spurred it, but we've always had them. So I should also add, when my wife's on board with some of this, I know something's going down, because my wife is so skeptical and says, will you stop already? Shut up. I don't want to hear about this. That's bullshit. Go look at this. Check it out. That's bullshit. She's not on board with a lot of it. Well, she's way on board right now, and that never happens. So when she's way on board, you guys can pretty much bet your ass I'm on target here. Anyhow, since we have chickens coming, I guess, and my son's had cows and different stuff. We've always had some farm animals, and we rent some of the property in the past to a farmer and whatnot. We're rural. The kids were involved in FFA, all that stuff. Anyhow, so what's in our Instagram feeds and whatnot? Farm animals. So all of these videos on chickens and on cows and on pigs, and not like how to raise them in a normal farm situation, but they show little baby pigs and little cows, and they're perfectly groomed, and they're in these pristine environments. Now, if you've been on a farm, you know that cows, pigs, chickens, farm animals in general they live in conditions far from pristine. And that's not to say the animals are abused or neglected. It's just they're animals. They live outside. They're in the dirt, in the mud, in the hay, in the rain, in the snow, and their own droppings and everything else, right? It's far from pristine. Well, I watched tonight a Hereford cow, That's a giveaway too, by the way, when you're talking with farmers and people that raise animals and refer to things as cows. Cows aren't cows. Some cows are cows, but most cows aren't cows. Anyhow, um, this calf, uh, uh, polled Hereford, gets out of a human bathtub. I'm thinking, how the hell did they get the thing in a bathtub? It was big enough to where I know I would have a problem getting it in there. And it steps out of the bathtub and it gets wrapped in a towel and its hair gets dried. And then they show the little dancing cows with bows in their hair and they do the baby voices on them and all. And I'm watching these and I saw the one, we were playing with our chicks this afternoon while we were feeding them and changing the bedding and stuff. And I said, "Oh, look at that. That's kind of cute." My wife goes, "Do you notice? They're humanizing all these animals. That's what all these videos are. They're humanizing them. Why? Well, cows are bad, right? Uh, Greenhouse gases, global warming. Cows cause global warming. Um, I don't know that they've said chickens cause anything bad yet, other than bird flu and all these other things. But all of this, it's meat production and eating meat, whatever it is, sheep, cows, goats, it's all bad, right? Well, they're humanizing it all. To who? Our children, younger generations, even us. I was watching it going, "Oh, look how cute, honey." They're humanizing it. And so if you're going to slaughter those animals, you're doing what? Well, they're like people like us. They're animals. They have feelings too and souls and all this stuff. And you can't slaughter those. You can't eat them. How dare you? And that's what they're doing. She hit the nail on the head. I almost dropped. I went, huh. I thought about it for a second. I said, "You are spot on. Spot on." Go on Instagram. Go on any of it. You've all seen the videos. Now think about it from there. That's exactly what they're doing. There's so many tentacles, guys. It's unbelievable. In the media, how do you change thoughts? How do you change movements and people and minds? Well, there it is. When you're watching something cute, right? It's like watching your cute kid or your grandkid or whatever. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. She hit the nail on the head. This has nothing to do with guns, does it? But it does. Because they are the last line of defense. It is the amendment that protects it all. It protects your right to speech. It protects your right to illegal search and seizure. It protects everything. And I just feel like I need to get this out to you guys because I'm older than most of you probably. And I've seen it all. I've seen it. I've been there. I've done that. I thought I saw it all. I hadn't seen it all. But I'm no smarter. I've just had probably the same experiences as you. Just if you've had them 10 times, I've had them 1,000 times. That's the only difference. So if I can help put those pieces together, or not even that, just get you thinking to look a little bit below the surface. That's all. Call me a conspiracy theorist if you want. Doesn't hurt my feelings. I don't believe Bigfoot's living out in my shed. I don't believe a UFO landed in my yard last night. None of that stuff. And a lot of it is meant for confusion, chaos. That's part of it. They want you confused. They want you, well, is that true? Is that true? What's true? We don't know what true is anymore, right? So if you want to say conspiracy theory, yeah, some of it is, and some of it's put out there for you to spend time on and pull you off the real subject. You just have to get past those and get to the real. So yeah, don't think of it as conspiracy theory. It's not. It's all part of it, but we don't believe in the conspiracy theories, right? We believe in the truth. And you're going to find it hidden under those conspiracies, is what I'm telling you. So I'm just here to inform you with bits and pieces and how to pick through it. Now, guns. What's left to talk about guns? Well, we got knife of the week, and this one's kind of funny. Where the hell did I just put it? I had it. Here it is. This is a funny one. So I usually show you guys a classic knife like a K-bar, something like that. Maybe a everyday carry knife, or a defensive knife, or a bayonet, or something, or a historical piece, something like that. This is none of those things. Matter of fact, we've all seen these. We've all been on a road trip somewhere and pulled in a gas station at 2 a.m. to fill up. And the wife's sleeping in the car and the kids are snoring away. And you got some time on your hands and you're enjoying the road trip. You're going on vacation. And you go in the gas station. They got a box or a display case full of what I call gas station knives, right? All of dubious quality. And most come from our good friends over in China. But some of them somehow are kind of cool or neat. Most have a cheap feel, quality, and look to them, but others are just good enough and unique enough to where you go, you know what, I'll take one of those. It may hold up, it may not, but somehow I still find myself drawn to it. Why? Because, well, it's a knife, right? And as my father-in-law says, knives are, and guns for that matter, are jewelry for men and for some ladies too. Anyhow, I found this one night on one of those late night road trips. I think we were actually going to a race. My son and daughters were racing, and I saw this, and this was when my son had signed up to go into the Army. And late, I'm looking right now to see. Yeah, it does say it. I knew I saw it. It's got the Army insignia on there with the star. It says United States Army. And it's not an authorized piece or anything, but it was cool. And I bought it to give to him. And here it is. It's shaped like a grenade. And it looks like it's probably just painted, but it looks like Cerakote, feels like Cerakote. And it was just done well enough. And it's got what is supposed to be like the pin over here. Like you'd pull the pin. Well, when you flick the pin, it opens. And it's got a belt clip. It is made in China, but my lighting tonight sucks. But it's just a cool little knife, and it looks like a grenade, and it's got that camo pattern on it and everything. And I just thought it was neat. It's tight. There's no wobble to it. The frame is stiff. A lot of times with these post frames, you can do this. Yeah, this one flexes pretty good. Let's see if you can see that. Get the light. Yeah, see, get some flex. But it is stainless, and the blade is coated. And I'll give them this. This thing is sharper than any K-bar I ever got. Now, how long that edge will last, I don't know. But from the factory, you can hear a sharp knife, right? Anyhow, I just thought it was cool. And I ran across it today. Hadn't seen it in a while. You know, sometimes they get put in drawers or put away. You forget about it and you find it and go, oh, all right, that's cool. And then you play with it for the next few days until you come across the next thing you bought 10 years ago and you go, oh, I love that thing. And you play with that for the next, comes your EDC for a while. Now, this is not what you'd want to carry for an EDC, but it is kind of cool. And I enjoyed it. And he thought it was cool. And cool enough that he kept it around and didn't lose it. And unfortunately, I have it back. But hey, what are you going to do? That being said, I told you last week we went out and I met some friends and drove down to see them. And we went to some of our old haunts down south of the Cheddar Curtain. And because of what's going on down there, I was afraid to bring an assault rifle. And guys, I say it, I don't care. It's what they refer to them as. We all know they're not that. I could say modern sporting rifle, but screw them. It is an assault rifle. That's what it's there for. It's just to assault back when tyranny rears its head, right? So yeah, that's what they're there for. They're to assault. Anyhow, went down there and I didn't know what was going on with the laws and whatnot, and me being out of state and all that. So I just brought my M1 Grand. Those are still legal, I think, just about everywhere. Thank God. Brought that, and I had loaded up some rounds for it, and I had a blast with it. And that gun, in case some of you don't know, one or two of you may not know, I lost my son a year and a half ago. His favorite gun in the world was an M1 Grand. He found this M1 Grand at a gun show we had went to, and a vendor there had it. And at the time, I didn't know enough about him, so I didn't know if the price he was asking was legit or not. So I asked if it was okay to take some pictures. He said, yeah. I took some pictures of it. And I said, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go home, research it, take your card, and if we're in the realm, I'll call you on Monday, whatever. So my son knew quite a bit about M1 Grands. Shocked me. He knew numbers, everything, but he did that since he was little. He knew the model numbers of certain weapons that were used by squads and whatnot. M whatever, saw, this, that. I don't know all that stuff. He did. He knew the model numbers of tanks and artillery. And when he was 5 and 6 years old, oh, that's a M whatever Bravo, Dad, that kind of thing. But he knew which manufacturers made World War II wartime Grands, which came later, Korea, etc., how many were made, the years, all this stuff. And he said, Dad, I'm telling you, that's a good one. And he goes, it's late or early 45, so it could have been there. He goes, I don't think it probably was. Maybe it got over there. Who knows? Maybe it made it to the Pacific, but either way, that's a World War II one, and it's in really good shape, and I like it. And we should get it, Dad. We should get it. It'd be cool. We could take it to range, Dad, and we could shoot it, Dad. And boy, I would like that. Don't you think it's neat, Dad? We should get it. It's really nice, Dad. So I did the research and relied on his as well. And I called him that next Monday. And when I got home that day, he asked me, what happened, Dad? What happened? Did you call him? I said, yeah. And I said, unfortunately, he sold it after we left the gun show. Another person came through and bought it. And he looked really sad because he thought that was the one, and it was the one. It was the right one. It was what I wanted as well. He didn't care. He wanted a World War II Grand. The more beat up, the better. This one was a Springfield Armory. It had its original barrel. What I assume, with my limited level of knowledge, were most of its original parts. At least they were all SA stamped, with the exception of, I believe, the charging handle and the op rod was not original. And I'm sure some other pieces were not original because a lot of those, they got changed out when it got re-arsenaled, all that stuff. They may have added parts that were worn out, whatever. But this gun had very few rounds to it. The ramp and throat were almost zero wear, even though it was original barrel. However, it was in a replacement stock, which he didn't really care for, but it made me happy because you guys know, if you watch the channel, I like my things nice. When something's scratched, I don't want it. Just like that. If it's The Milsurp, I like it as nice as I can get it. If it was, of course, I'd love an original stock if it was in good shape, or even decent shape. It was a shame it didn't have it, but that new stock was beautiful. And so it fit everything he loved and wanted. And the stock made it what I wanted. And so I met the guy and bought it, but I told him it had gotten sold because his birthday was coming up. And I was going to give him that. It was going to be in the collection, and of course, I'd shoot it too, but it was his. He had always wanted one, always, more than anything. And unfortunately, he was a couple of days shy of that birthday when he passed, and I never got to give it to him. Anyways, I was out shooting it last weekend, and I've got this. It's a little dog tag. He was in the Army, National Guard, due to well, that's another long story. But anyhow, that's his thumbprint on this little dog tag. And they also had, for my daughter's wedding, we had lapel pins, magnets made for all the bridal party to wear. And my daughter had one on her wedding dress. Me and my wife had them. I had the lapel pin on my tuxedo and whatnot. And the grandparents all had one, etc. And I took the one, and because it's a magnet, it sits attached to the receiver of that Garand. And I was afraid of losing it, but I've put a couple hundred rounds through it, and it doesn't move. The magnet's super strong. So there was a time I had it up on the front sight block, the side of it. It wouldn't fall off of there even. I then it's on the rear of the receiver, right where the serial number is, kind of. I put it on there. So when I'm shooting it, it's always there. And it's his gun, and his thumb is on that gun, just like he was shooting it. That's why I put it up there. So that's why I take it out and shoot it all the time, because he's shooting it then in my head, I guess. Anyhow, that was on there. And I told you guys about it last podcast. And I'm coming in the house. The gun was in a case, zippered in. I had shot at the range. The magnet was on there. I saw it. I saw it when I put it away. Stuff was loaded in the car. Friends went home. I went home. I got home, brought them in the house, everything. They were in, I don't know, 5-6 days. And yesterday, I get home from work, and I get out of the car, and I'm walking into the house, and there laying on the ground is the thumbprint, the lapel pin. And I look, I pick it up, and the magnet's attached to it. And I'm like, how the hell? And I can't figure out how it got there. I thought it must be one of the extras we had. So I go down to my gun vault, and I open it up, and I pull the Garand out, and it's gone. It's not on there. So it had to be that one. Now, how it got there, I don't know. I don't know. Strange thing. But yeah, weird. Weird stuff happens lately sometimes, but always good. I just think of them as reminders, kind of. I don't know. But I loaded up some more for that gun. We're going to take it out this weekend again. So much fun. I'm loving that thing. The more I shoot it, the more I like it. A friend shot it, and he said, I never would have thought of that gun. He's not into that. But he shot it, and he asked, you got any more ammo? And he probably put, oh God, I don't even know, another 100 rounds through it. He loves it. Now he's on target to get one. So I'm going to put him in touch with the Civilian Marksmanship Program, CMMP, so he can get one of those rifles out of this last batch before they're gone. If you guys want one, get it. How's things around you guys? How's the different gun shops looking for um, inventory. You seeing anything cool? How's ammo looking? Reloading supplies? Anything good? A lot more powder out there. I'm seeing some primers. I can find usually small rifle primers, no problem. Some small pistol have been around lately. Um, Large is still a problem, but I got some. Powder, I'm getting just about anything I want. Bullets, same thing. Brass, even some brand new 5.56 brass, no problem. Um, all kinds of good. So that's good. I'm loading it as fast as I get it. So I'm going to try to, I really want to ramp up my cache of primers and projectiles and powder. Um, while I probably have more than most people, I don't want to have to worry about it in the event we run into shortages again. So I really, now that being said, everything I've had, I've loaded up and I've shot very little of it. So it's there. I just want some on the shelf. When it comes to primers, we went through, well, ammo in general, we went through a good 2-year period there, guys, where there was nothing available, and look how long we went with ammo. I know a lot of you guys had super hard times finding it. I managed somehow to actually put more away than I was shooting, and I really didn't change my shooting patterns other than I shot a lot less 9mm for some reason. And that was psychological, I think, in my head. I wasn't shooting it. But that being said, I had to jump on putting components away when I had all the ammo I wanted or thought I needed. I thought, and I jumped over to components and I got a little head start. So I went through the whole pandemic and everything without firing one round of factory ammo and still had stuff left. And but it was tight and I had a search to do it and everything. So I really want to stockpile. And I wish I had done it before these went up. $20 a thousand for primers versus, well, I'm seeing them come down now a little, $77 to $99 a thousand, which is cheap. And I hate to say cheap because it's not cheap by any stretch, but it's much cheaper than 125 to 175, which it was a few months ago. I think at a minimum, I'd like to have 5,000 primers of each type. 5,000 small rifle, 5,000 large, 5,000 small pistol, 5,000 large pistol. Put away, not touched. And I'd like to have probably, let's see, 40 pounds of powder that I use for 5.56 and, well, maybe 100 pounds of powder for the 5.56 and 308, and probably 40 pounds of the pistol powders I use is what I'd like to have put away. And then projectiles, I'd like to have probably 10,000 223s, and probably at least 10,000 30 caliber, both in 150, 168 grain combined. And then 45 and 9mm, I don't know, maybe 5,000 rounds each, just the projectiles. And brass, I'd like to have at least 5,000 cases of 9.5 of 5.56 and 5,000 of 308 and or an equal number to what I got put away in projectiles, and just put away. And then what I'm going to reload is separate. That's what I'd like to have. I think that way I don't have to worry, period, at all. And then, of course, our factory ammo that we put away, that we use for range trips, future protection, whatever, that type of thing. Yeah. Guns, what am I seeing out there? A little bit of everything. I'm seeing Colts out there. I'm seeing lots of SIGs. I'm seeing lots of CZs. A lot of Mossberg's back, which had been gone for a while. It was hard to find some of their shotguns. I'm seeing a little bit of everything there. I'm seeing more Daniel Defense all over. I discovered a neat store by accident, and most of them are not in my state. There's one here in Wisconsin, I think, but the majority that I know of are in Iowa. But it's called Scheels, Scheels, Scheels Sporting Goods. I got a sale flyer from them recently, and let me tell you something. If I wanted to only shop at one place and get a little bit of everything I want and the brands I like, or if I were to open an FFL, I would carry everything they carry. God, they got some beautiful stuff. They carry tons of reloading stuff, and they even carry Dillon, which is super hard to find at a retail establishment outside of specialized stores. Staccato they carry. I'm really kind of liking those lately. They carry HK, Daniel Defense, Colts, good stuff, beautiful stuff. God, the sale flyer, I don't get amused much by stuff like that anymore, or stuff that comes sales on the internet. And this, they had all the right stuff. Really an amazing store, and great prices too. If you live in Iowa, man, I would check that out. Even if you don't, though, I've ordered online. I have not been to the store here in Wisconsin. It's kind of way west of me, and a little south, so it's a ride. But what a cool store. Neat stuff, and they seem to have everything. So the market's really there. Prices have dropped on a lot of firearms. Ammo has continued to drop, although slowly. 9 is really getting down. It's not what it once was, but it's down there. 5.56 too. I've seen some incredible prices on 5.56 lately. So if you've put off buying, I would definitely start picking stuff up. If it gets a little cheaper, maybe, but it's down there now, guys. It's down where if you're looking to stockpile some stuff, I would definitely start now. You can't go wrong right now. Let's see what you guys are saying. Let's not forget about all the chemicals allowed in food to get us sick and kill us. There's a reason why Big Pharma is in every commercial break. Yeah, I got a kick out of the ones that I haven't seen them in the last few weeks, but a couple months ago I started noticing them. Ask your doctor about so and so for schizophrenia, and have a talk with your doctor about your schizophrenia and what such and such can do for you. Are you serious? I get it. It's a disease. It's a mental disorder, whatever it is. And I get that people suffer from it. But the people suffering from it that don't have it under control already, are they really going to go, yeah, I'm not taking any meds. I really haven't went to the doctor to have a diagnosed because he'll just think I'm crazy, might lock me up. But maybe I should ask him about that med. I never understood big pharma commercials. I really don't. Do you? I mean, do people go, huh? If I ever get diabetes, I'm going to ask my doctor about that. Yeah, that sounds great, man. I can sit in a bathtub on the beach, and oh, look at that chick he's with. She's got a man. Is that how it goes down? I mean, is that what we think? Well, shit, if I ever get a leaky anus, that's definitely the stuff I'm asking for. I mean, I'm being a bit facetious here, but I don't get it. So yeah, what is well, we all know the agenda on that, but I never really cared about that stuff. I eat horribly. Let's see, today I had a chili cheese dog and a cheese fry. However, instead of a peach Red Bull to wash it down, I had a glass of water actually for once, because my wife is now limiting my Red Bull. She's mean, very mean. This is my favorite. I'm old. I got very few things left to enjoy in life. One of them is this. I really don't drink, and the other is these. And it's all I got. Now I can't do this. I get 2 a day now. I didn't see what 6 was doing, so any harm? I don't know. I did sneak this one, though. This is my 3rd, and I got one hidden in the car. That's for the morning or later tonight. Anyhow, I eat like crap, and I get it, and I like good food. I should say I eat like crap. I eat like crap for lunch at work, but my wife's an excellent cook. She buys all fresh ingredients. She makes everything from scratch. She buys well. We eat very healthy at home. I can't ever say I eat healthy because I just don't. I'll add salt to things. I'll put half a stick of butter on something, that kind of thing. But she tries. But I never looked at the chemicals and stuff, and I never worried about that kind of thing. Like, oh, wash those grapes. No, I just eat the grapes. I figured I inhaled when I was a mechanic, I inhaled enough carb cleaner, brake cleaner, swallowed enough mouthfuls of gasoline, siphoning gas when I was a kid. If it was going to pop out, it would have popped out by now, whatever it was going to do to me. But so a little pesticide here and there, what the hell? Sprayed enough paint and this and that and whatever that was going to hurt me. And God, I'd race motorcycles and be behind 40 of them, all spewing 2-stroke oil in my face and breathing deep and heavy for 20-minute motos. I just didn't care about it. That didn't mean I thought it was right or anything, but I thought, really, are they really trying to kill us? I never thought that ever. However, I don't think they try to kill you. I think they try to make money. And however they can make the most money while putting the least expenditure out is how they're going to do it. And the stories recently on what they're doing with the animals, beef, all of that, videos I've watched of what's his dick from Microsoft, and this guy, what is he? You're a computer guy. What do you have to say about immunizations in our farm animals? And what makes you the expert, and why? Why aren't you on an island somewhere sipping Mai Tais and hanging out with underage women? Like the rest of your crew, I don't know. But lately, all of this stuff, I'm like, you know what? Yeah, I don't want anything to do with their food supply. I really don't. And my wife is in full agreement. I told you she's on board. We've got the property and everything now. We're going to do much more in revolving around this, from growing our own food, which we've done in the past, just in small quantity. We weren't very good at it. Well, we're getting good at it. And we're going to grow a lot of our own stuff. I'm planting fruit trees, different. We've got our chickens. I'll definitely add some cows here, some beef cows. I'm not going to do a dairy cow. That's you can't even leave for the weekend. Beef cows are easy. They got water and they can get out of the wind. They're good to go. They don't even need a roof. Get out of the wind and water, and they'll be just fine when you come back. Um, so probably do that, but do as much as we can to insulate ourselves from some of this, because I just feel and see what I feel are ramifications of some of it. And part of it's just getting older, but others are changes that you go, huh, why is that? And yeah, uh, I just don't trust it. I don't trust it anymore. So I'm going to do my best to bring the healthiest things I can, and to know, I guess, you hear this term all the time, and I never thought I'd be that guy, but to know where my food comes from, every bit of it if I can. And yeah, and introduce that to my kids and their families and grandkids that are coming, because I want them safe and I want them healthy, and I raised them right. So somebody's got to carry on the fight, and that's what I'm going to do. And I'm lucky enough that they still listen to their father for the most part, and that's what I want for them. So if I can pass that down to them, then I've done my job, I guess, right? And that's what we all have to do. And it's hard. You don't have time. It's hard enough just to get to the grocery store, right? To grab a box of ho-hos and some hamburger and hamburger helper, taco mix, few frozen pizzas, and some fudge bars, and you're off, right? Pack of hot dogs filled with nitrates and whatever, and some fruit that's been sprayed down with pesticides that'll kill a Clydesdale, and apples that are 4 years old coated in wax. I don't get that. People are telling me that some of the apples or apple products you eat are as old as like 4 years. And I'm talking, I've had people tell me that an apple, that thing's 4 years old. I'm like, no way. I'm like, yeah, check it out. I still don't know if I believe that one, but maybe. Anyhow, yeah, it matters, I guess, guys. You know what? It wouldn't matter if it was like things used to be, where you went to the butcher and you got your meat, you went to the bakery and you got your bread, you went to the farm stand and got your vegetables, and so on. And you kind of sort of knew where they came from, or at least they weren't grown by Monsanto. You know what I mean? And well, Monsanto gets they're the big evil doers, right? But by that I don't mean them, but just everything today. And maybe some things are done maliciously, maybe they're just done for money. But what's the old saying? The root of all evil, right? And plants have roots. So there you go. Anyhow, that's my thoughts on it. So do what you can, because again, he's not talking about guns. He keeps talking about all this other stuff. Well, maybe it is about guns, because guns protect the rest of it, right? And tyranny comes in many forms, and it can be insidious. It can be dealt to you without you even knowing, and it has been, I'm sure. So it's about insulating yourself, and it's about being able to continue the fight. You can't fight very well if you're not healthy. You can't fight very well if you're hungry or thirsty or sick or whatever. So While guns protect it all, they don't do you much good if you can't pick one up and carry it a few miles, right? Um, so make sure that you're not just spending everything on guns, 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 guns. I want that. Oh, I need that. Oh, look at that. I need one of those. My collection needs one more and it's finished. And more bullets, more bullets, more bullets. Guys, when you get past that point and you start looking at your collection as, man, why did I buy that again? Or, man, I haven't shot that thing in 3 years. Or why didn't I shoot it? Well, I don't like it very much, but it's kind of cool, and collection should have that. And when you get to that point, start exchanging quantity for quality. Not telling you to not look at your collection as a collection or things that make you happy or investments or whatever you do. Not telling you to do that, but look at the stuff that when you got Fast and Furious on it and you were all, hyped up on collecting and grabbing and buying. I'm not saying there are mistakes that you made, but there's maybe duplicates or placeholders that now you got the real deal, or you got 10 9mm pistols and you only shoot 2 of them. Start figuring out, what can I do with these? Okay, I'm not using them. I'm going to sell them. There's other people that need to find good deals to be able to afford them, to get into the hobby, the sport, the collection, the mindset, whatever. So let them have them, sell them, and then put that money toward the things that are important. Think about what it takes to get through a crisis. You got your truck, your car. How much gas is in it right now? Well, Chris, it's sitting in the driveway. It's got a quarter tank, but I'm going to stop in the morning. Okay. What if you get there in the morning and the credit card system's down and you can't get any fuel? Or what if you get there and the electric's out and the pumps don't work? Or what if, whatever. Start filling your tank if you can. When you get down to 3/4 of a tank, put that quarter in. Get to whatever, half. If that makes you happy, get down to a half, fill it. Don't let it get down to a half. That being said, everyone, if you don't have a place to go in an emergency situation, you don't have a second place or a little bug out location, or a family's, one of your family members has a place a little further out, or whatever the case may be. Do you have enough fuel to get there? Yeah, I got a full tank. Well, what if it takes a tank and a half? Can you get there? Put 20 gallons of gas in the garage. Keep it, put it in the shed. It might blow up in my garage. It won't blow up in your garage. Put it in the shed then. Well, it'll blow up in the shed. So what? Get some fuel put away. Do you have water? Can you get through tomorrow if the power goes out and your water pump don't work or the city water shuts down? You can get by without food. You can't get by without water for more than 24 hours. Yeah, you'll live a while longer, but it starts seriously affecting you. Do you have some water put away? A case or two? Do you have some gallon jugs? Do you have some water jerry cans put away? Just under the stairs, in the basement, wherever you're going to put them, under the bed. Do you have some? Do you have some canned food, some freeze-dried food, some this, some that? Do you have enough to get by for even 3 days? I know a lot of people, and there were times, depending on how the shopping trips were done, especially when you got kids, that I'd go look in the pantry or the freezer, want something to eat. Or just recently, my wife went away for the weekend, and I look and I go, there ain't nothing to eat. Literally, there ain't nothing. It's like a can of wax beans, a can of a thing of some kind of orange pinwheel pasta, some grain I never saw before, half spoiled head of something. I don't know what it is, kale maybe. I don't think we bring kale. I hope we don't bring kale into this house, but something along those lines. An apple that's probably 4 years old and felt mushy. Um, about that much milk in a gallon. 2 cans of pop I hate, and that, that kind of thing. There was like nothing. And I called my wife. I said, "What the hell? There's nothing for me to eat." She goes, "Oh no, there's stuff for you to eat there. Just it's stuff you have to cook." And that was partially true. But what I'm getting to, I'm trying to be funny a little bit, but what I'm getting to is there wasn't, uh, there really wasn't anything there. Now I have food put away, canned food in other areas of the house, but the pantry was empty. And if I didn't have stuff put away and an emergency happened, we'd be screwed. Let's say it's a day before your weekly shopping trip, and sometimes how that pantry gets. What do you got there? Well, I got a box of spaghetti and nothing to put on it. And I got this, and there's no meat put away, and I got half a gallon of milk and a stick of butter. If that's your pantry, you need to start putting some stuff back, whether that's buying expensive freeze-dried food or buying cans of whatever. You need to put some back. The key to it, because I've done it before, I went in and bought canned stuff. Well, we need vegetables, so I'll buy these, and then later you look at it and go, why did I buy canned asparagus? I ain't gonna eat that. I love fresh. It's shit. You're not gonna eat lima beans. What? Ugh. Buy what you eat and eat what you buy. So if you like raviolios, go buy some raviolios. You like spaghettios, buy that. It may not be the healthiest, but it's food, right? And you'll use it. Because if times are stressful like that, something you like, at least, it'll make you feel better for a little bit, right? And attitude's a lot of it. Put something away. You smoke? Guarantee you want to smoke a lot more if the shit hits the fan, right? Better have a couple cartons in the freezer just in case. Maybe you'll quit, but at least you can gradually quit if something happens. You like to drink? Well, you probably shouldn't, but if you do, and it can't hurt maybe to have a couple bottles of something put away. Worst case scenario, you can sure trade it for something you need. Cigarettes and booze can probably get just about anything you need. If you got booze, bullets, and smokes, you can trade for anything. Anyhow, you get what I mean. If you're going to start a garden and grow, don't go, dude. I'm telling you from personal mistakes. Don't go rototill up a big chunk of land 100 feet by 50 feet and plant everything under the sun that you think you're going to do and get this whole thing going. Half of it dies. The weeds take over. Oops, I didn't water. I watered too much. Oh, I got these radishes. We can live on those for 2 months. Radishes. That's all I was able to grow. Radishes and green peppers and tomatoes. That's it. Everything else didn't make it. Because I was an idiot and I didn't know anything about it. Gardening's hard. It's not easy. It may become easy as you learn and you experiment and you find what you did wrong. But if you're going to start a garden now, pick 5 things you like and plant a small little patch and figure it out. See what grows. See what mistakes you made. At least you won't get frustrated. It doesn't become a full-time job, just keeping the weeds out of it. And you'll get some good stuff. And next year, you'll know more, you'll plant more. Yeah, if it's too late and something goes down next month, well, you're screwed anyways. But, you might as well at least try to learn a little bit. If you got somebody in the family that knows how to do it, pick their brain. Invite them over for the weekend. Have them help you. Have them teach you. Give you a book, whatever. Learn how to do it. You live not off grid, but you live outside the city and you're on well and septic. What happens when your power goes out and the well pump don't work? They make hand pump wells, depending how deep your well is, that slide right down the case next to your main one. And cap goes on and it can stay just like that till you need it. When you need it, you undo a plug, you put the pump on, You prime it and you pump and you got all the water you want. You can even get a solar backup system with one deep cycle battery like you got for the trolling motor on your boat. One of those, one little solar panel and a couple wires hooked to it and a switch nearby inside, and whether that's a basement, the garage, whatever, that you can flip, and the power you took in from the solar panel stored in the battery turns your water pump on, and you can have it pressurize your whole house. Or you need a bucket of water, pump a bucket and bring it in. At least you have water, right? Yeah, the convenience factor is gone, but at least you have water. At least you can still flush your toilet with it, right? That's a big deal. Without water to wash down the toilets, what are you going to do? Well, I'll just walk down to the river. The river's 2.5 miles away. Well, I'll take the quad over there. What happens when you run out of gas? For $800 now, a price of a pistol, you can go get a water pump. And for the price of another pistol, you can get a small solar thing to at least be able to charge radios and stuff like that, or maybe keep a refrigerator going or whatever until you invest more and can do more. But get a start. Write a list, make them small projects, knock them off. A little bit of something is better than none of nothing or too much of one thing, right? Little projects and get it done. Speaking of little projects, let's get back to guns for a minute. Been telling you guys about my Cerakote stuff. I'd done it in the past, got out of it, and it was half-assed before. Again, learned from my mistakes, right? This time, the reason I keep saying, it's coming, you guys go, yeah, right, he's not going to friggin' do it. No, it's done. I made some major investments last couple of weeks. The biggest thing was with any project is prepping, right? So I wanted the sandblaster spot on. I could have got away with the Harbor Freight one I had bought 2 years ago and just ran it. Been super frustrated, not gotten the best job out of it, not been even, and everything would look like shit. But this, I want pro results because I want to do it as a side gig. That if I do end up opening an FFL indoor gunsmithing or whatever, this equipment can at least be fully operational and work well enough at a small commercial level until the money from the business is flowing in enough to upgrade to a full out commercial level. So I've upgraded the sandblaster. How? It's a company out there called Tacoma. Is it Tacoma Industries? What the hell is it? Hold on. I just got to look at something real quick because I don't want to tell you the wrong thing because they are such a great company. So just hold on. Uno momento. Tacoma Company is what they're called. You can find some of their products on eBay. You can look at them on their website, Tacoma Company, whatever. Just look it up. You'll find it. All they do is blasting products. And what this guy did was he makes parts to upgrade sandblasters. You'll find videos on it all over YouTube, tons of them. Some guys are making them parts, some of the parts themselves. They work, but they don't work like this guy's stuff. If you just do the basic upgrade kit, the biggest problem with Harbor Freight sandblasters is that they're siphon feed. So think of it like this. Everybody's had a Slurpee, right? Or a frozen whatever. You get that frozen drink, you stick the straw down in it, you're drinking. All of a sudden, it's air, but yet you got a full cup of Slurpee, right? It sucked all the Slurpee out around the straw, but nothing's flowed back in to fill it to keep it coming. That's what happens on a siphon feed sandblaster. It sucks all the sand, all the media out from around the siphon tube, and then the sand doesn't fill back in or doesn't recirculate fast enough to keep it fed. Siphon systems on sandblasters suck. They clog, they run out of media, they whatever, and you need a ton of media in your blaster. That's why it's called a 40-pound sandblaster from Harbor Freight. Well, instead of 40 pounds of media, mine's going to run on about a cup of media. So think about that. Now I can afford to have brand new media on every firearm or whatever that I'm going to blast and not worry about having it be contaminated by the previous one when I was blasting off the finish and the oil and the stuff that came along with it. Because one little thing of oil or silicone or anything will destroy a Cerakote finish. One drop, less than a drop, will destroy it. Has to be absolutely immaculately clean. It won't stick. It'll bubble off. It'll come off. It's destroyed immediately. So why do you use a sandblaster when, let's say, Cerakoting your favorite firearm? You got a nice AR, but it's plain black, and you want to maybe make it tan or bronze or OD green, or maybe you even want to do a camouflage finish or a battle-worn flag, American flag, or something like that. That's what you're going to use Cerakote for. And in order to get it to stick, you can't just blast right over the anodizing. It won't stick. If it's bare metal, it still needs to be blasted because it needs to, for it to look good. Cerakote is so thin. That's what makes it great for firearms. It's so thin that parts will still run as needed because it doesn't, it's not, the thickness is not so thick that the tolerances won't be too tight and things not run. That being said, you don't want to apply it to bolts and stuff like that, but it for most parts in a firearm is just fine because it's so thin. Being so thin, it's not going to cover up flaws. So if there's a gouge in the metal, it's not going to cover it up. If there's machine marks, sand marks, it's not going to cover it up. So you need to sandblast the finish for two reasons. For looks, aesthetics, you want it to be a nice even blast pattern. And two, that blast pattern at a microscopic level is little mountain peaks, okay? Sharp mountain peaks. That abrasive hits it, creates those peaks, blasts away anything that's on it, gets rid of old finishes, creates the new even one, and those sharp little peaks and valleys. So that stuff, when you spray it on, it sticks and it ain't going anywhere. So whether it's new metal, whether it's anodized metal, painted metal, whatever the hell you're blasting off, bluing, whatever, you blast it and give it a fresh thing to stick to. Now, that being said, let's say you blast something all the way down to bare metal. The best finish you can do to get Cerakote to stick perfectly and forever is sandblast and then parkerize. Parkerizing is done very easily with chemicals in cheap troughs without a lot of heat and everything. And it etches the surface again. The reason parkerizing is so good, or a phosphate finish is what it really is. Parkerizing was actually a name brand of it we refer to. But black oxide finish is what it is, and it's done with chemicals that are nowhere near as caustic and dangerous as doing bluing. You can master it and get it done very cheaply in your garage with a few chemicals and some troughs and some time and watching a few videos or reading a book. And that actually changes the surface of the metal and it sticks magnificently. The best stock firearm you can coat is a brand new wasser. They're parkerized, and as long as you get the oil off the surface, it will look and stick magnificently because they got a nice medium to heavy parkerizing on it. and it works great. All you got to do is remove the metal. So that's why we sandblast, to get an even finish and a finish that things will stick to, and to get contaminants off. So once you sandblast it, you're going to soak it in acetone for half an hour or longer. And then once that flashes off, you take it out and flashes off, you're going to put it in a low temperature oven to get any oil that's stuck in corners, rivets, etc., to seep out. Once you heat it, you take it out, let it cool, you'll see where it seeped out. If you see any oil seeping out, you got to do it over again, the acetone. Anyhow, sandblasting is the most important part. It gets the majority of it off and sets that finish. So we want a great sandblaster. So enter Tacoma company. They sell parts to change that that siphon system on your sandblaster to a gravity fed system. At the bottom of the sandblaster comes down to a big funnel. Your media sits in the bottom where normally a siphon tube would go. Well, now you drill a hole in the bottom or replace it with a funnel they make for the bottom that a Venturi arm or fitting goes on the end, and his are polished on the inside and everything, and they flow great, and you can adjust the airflow, how much media you're going to pick up with a valve there. So the kit comes with that, a foot pedal, and a different gun. The gun that comes with the cheap Harbor Freight one is a squeeze gun, looks kind of like a pistol grip, to spray the media and air to blast it. Well, believe it or not, when you're behind that sandblaster, sandblasting takes a while, especially when you're using a crappy Harbor Freight siphon kit. It takes forever. Your hand's going to get tired just squeezing that. So it he gives you a foot pedal, all the necessary hoses, grommets, everything to change it over to a nozzle that you hold, a foot pedal that controls the pressure and you can feather it, and that gravity feed system. Once he perfected that, which is the heart of it, you could get by with just changing that and be done, and things would come out wonderfully, but he makes even better stuff for it. For instance, the door has holes in it from the blow molding process that sand will build up. So when you open the door, sand goes everywhere. Not sand, but aluminum oxide or garnet goes everywhere, makes a mess. Well, he makes a kit, goes on there, better lighting for in the cabinet, hookups to hook up and adjust a shop vac and pressure to circulate the air out so you can see what you're working on, because without it, you can't see a thing in literally 3 seconds. So a whole system to adapt a regular old shop vac to circulate the system while keeping your media in there and getting the dirty air out, and a way to reclaim any media that does get through. Makes all kinds of add-on pieces. Hole plug kits. You can get pretty crazy. The lighting, I went a different way with the lighting, but pretty much used everything he offers. And the whole ball of wax was $800. So now my $150 sandblaster is now about $1,000. But to match the ability of my sandblaster right now, I would have had to have spent $3,000, maybe $4,000 to get one out of the box that works as good as this one for $1,000. I got a quick change glass system, so when the glass gets etched, I can pop it out, put a new one in. My lighting, I got 45,000 lumens. Crazy. It's like insane in there, but you need that light to be able to see, and it's super cool. We wired everything to where the vacuum comes on when I switch the unit on now. We made it heavy duty. We put it on casters. We did all this stuff. Most of the heavy work is done. He's got about a 2-week backlog right now for one of the parts that goes into the main kit. So I'll be receiving 3 shipments over the next 2 weeks, but I should have everything 2 weeks from now. and an evening or two of futzing to get everything done. And my blast media, which Cerakote recommends 100 grit aluminum oxide. In talking with the gentleman there, you get to talk to the owner of um, Tacoma Company when you call. You tell him what project you're doing and what you're working with, and he makes recommendations, and he's spot on. And the guy's super nice to talk to. He recommended that I go with garnet. That garnet is working much better with most substrates I'll be working with. So we're using 100 to 120 grit red garnet, and system's going to be awesome. So we've got the prep stuff down. I've got sandblaster done. Cerakote has a tank available for soaking in the acetone, which is pretty damn slick. There's these levers you can raise the bottom up and down, and there's a cover because acetone evaporates so quick. It can cost a fortune in acetone just to keep a Cerakote shop up and running. You can use simple green. Acetone works fabulous. I want to use acetone, so that tank is extremely expensive. I found a restaurant equipment supply company in the area that has stainless steel troughs or serving trays that are deep enough, about that deep, long enough and wide enough with lids that I can use that. I just am welding up a frame for it, so it's at waist height. So that'll be done by the end of the week. The baking process. The hardest thing to do in starting a Cerakote process is finding an affordable oven. It's kind of like, okay, you can wait for your wife to go shopping and lay down some Cerakote real quick and hang it in her oven and hope to God it's done before she pulls back in the driveway and you get your ass kicked. I've done that before, but your standard oven just isn't long enough for most barreled actions. The average barreled action on an AK is 21 inches, roughly 22, with an inch to spare. Due to how I'm going to hang it or whatever, 23 is the minimum you need for a barreled, doing barreled AK actions. And of course, ARs maybe with a 20-inch barrel or something longer. So you need something to accommodate that length. You need something, depending on the series of Cerakote you're doing, to get at least a 250 degrees for metal components and H series Cerakote. If you're going to use Elite series, you need to get to 300. You need something that'll hold a steady 300 degree temperature for a couple hours. That's not easy to find. Can you go find an old oven? Yeah, you're not going to have enough space in it. And you don't want to have to hang a barreled action sideways and other things hanging from wires. You need something more vertical. Guys are taking old school lockers and taking elements out of ovens and using toaster ovens and all kinds of stuff to make these ovens, right? There is one company that makes a high-end hobby to light commercial oven, but those start, once you add a couple options, you need about $3,000 to $4,000. It's a lot of money, right? Plus, you're going to need 220 wiring and all kinds of stuff if you don't have it already. That's expensive even for most small businesses. There's a solution using smokers, electric smokers, but a lot of those won't heat to the temperatures you need and or be even enough and hold it long enough. I've done a lot of with which that's what I want to do. But another $4,000 was out of the question at the moment. So I did a ton of research into these smokers. Most were too small, in my opinion. Can do pistols, that kind of thing. But I wanted a one and done that would do everything I need to do it every time, and do it well until I can do that. So I researched. That included online, actually going to look at some of these in person, everything. I found one with the interior length. Also, the most you can get out of these appliances is 1,500 watts. That's the most you can get, really, without going to 220, right? However, there's a couple brands that use parts. I think most are coming out of Europe, or they're getting these parts somewhere, that are 1,650 watts. That's enough, that extra, to for sure be able to get you to 250 all the time, and actually to 300, no problem. Here's the issue. You're talking about a vertical oven now, and the one temperature sensor is at the bottom. Well, I can get it to 290 and hold solid at 290 like nothing. It'll heat to that and stay right there, spot on, no fluctuations. Won't get to 300, at least at that temperature sensor. I put a probe in the top, and it's over 405 degrees at the top. So you need a fan, like a convection oven. Two things. You can scrounge a fan out of a old convection microwave or something else. Two choices. You can get a thermally protected motor fan that can go inside the oven, or you can get a regular fan where you can put the fan and shaft through the side and have the motor outside where it's not subjected to that heat. Well, to me, that looks jury-rigged. I can't put it flat against a wall, et cetera, et cetera. So I did enough research to where in the underbelly of this smoker, there's enough room for me to put a fan internally. Matter of fact, there's a box that comes out that's normally used for wood chips that this entire fan will fit through, and it's going to circulate it inside. And a buddy of mine that was Master Chief on a nuclear aircraft carrier. He's a Master Chief electronic engineer. Wired it into and soldered and did what electronic people do into the main control board of my digital control board on the oven. So now when I fire it up, the fan comes on automatically. It's encased. It looks like it's factory. This also has a glass door, so I can see what's going on in there. The hangers at the top are perfect. It's like it was made for this. It's on casters. I can move it around. I can timer built in. It couldn't be. And it has the brand name on a little emblem that goes in the front. I took it off, and my son-in-law is machining a new aluminum plate that goes in there that says Rockford Ordnance. So you will not even know it's a smoker if I didn't tell you. But it took a lot of research to figure this all out, and a little talent to put it all together. So we are done there. It's done and ready to go. Sandblaster's done, ready to go, other than throw these parts in 2 weeks when they get here. And the actual Cerakote product and the new gun and the mixing beakers and all will be on their way next week. I will have everything in-house and finished by the time the Cerakote gets here 2 weeks from now, if all goes well with Tacoma Company. But it sounds like they'll have it ready in 2 weeks. The first project we are doing is a wasser. So you'll see that live on the channel. We are going to be blasting off our famous appliance epoxy finish that has a huge write-up on the AK files. We'll be blasting that off, and I think I'm just going to do a graphite black on this Wasser. I was thinking maybe an OD green just cuz. I don't know. I think I'll let you guys decide. You guys give me the vote and see what we do. Once I run a few projects through and everything is working as it should, which it should work right out of the box first time, we're going to do a camo finish. And I've done them before, but I don't own one. But I'm going to do a distressed battle flag finish on, I don't know, pistol, maybe a rifle. I don't know. I think every collection needs a gaudy flag finish on something, right? Maybe the Vepr. Not. No. But that being said, it's there finally. I'm so happy to have this thing ready to roll, and I enjoy it. It's really it's very gratifying to do and to refin. I love refinishing more than I do anything else. I love taking something that looks terrible and making it look absolutely factory fabulous, custom, with immediate gratification like that. That's what I truly enjoy, is restoration type of stuff. So I can't wait. And that'll be cool, and you'll get to see it all. And I will give you all the information, tips, parts lists, everything, so you can recreate the entire system yourself in your garage or shop or whatever for not a lot of money. Well, it's still a chunk of change, guys. But and there's ways to do it cheaper. But I know this, it won't come out as nice, it won't come out as professional, and it will be harder to do in the long run. But you can do it. But if you want to do it right, and as inexpensively as right comes, this will be the way to do it. I'll say at the end of the day, you'll probably have about 600 in the oven. You'll have 1,000 in the blaster. That's if you have a compressor and all, and you need a compressor big enough to run it. Blasters take up a lot of CFM, so you need a big compressor. You will have at a minimum, probably minimum, and I mean minimum, like only enough product on hand and the gun and all to do one or two small projects. If you spend 300, if you spend 5 or 6, you'll have enough to do a bunch of good sized projects and a really nice gun, spray gun that is, for $600. So let's see, 1,000 in the sandblaster, 600 in the oven, another 600 there, 12, 2,200. The tank, figure another 300, 2,500, and then what else? 2,500 without a compressor, and then what was the other thing? Something else you need. I just thought of it. Now I lost it. It'll come to me. Anywho, you'll need a respirator. I sprayed plenty of stuff without one, but I, the man that lives the life of danger, will not spray Cerakote without a respirator. It is no good. You will end up dying. Promise you that. So you need a respirator and preferably some kind of spray booth. That's the only thing I don't have done yet because I'm still debating what I want to do, but I can do this first project without a booth. Not a big deal. Even so, you can construct a small one out of plywood and basic lumber with a small exhaust fan and furnace filters to catch the stuff. Simple enough, really easy. I've seen even big shops run on just a large plywood booth like that. You can get crazy. Sure, you can buy pre-made ones, all that. You don't need to. You really don't, unless you're doing large batch commercial stuff. Your choke point will be the oven every time. You'll be spraying, let's say you got 5 jobs lined up. Some of it may need to be pre-tacked out to put a second coat on, stencils, this and that. You'll always get backed up at the oven. So the biggest, on top of the setup I'm going to show you, the biggest thing to make more money in less time, the biggest upgrade is an oven that can handle 5 to 10 projects baked out at a time. And then I would still keep the smaller one around to tack stuff for multi-coat projects. So yeah, it will be cool. I think you guys will really like it, and I hope I inspire enough of you to at least try it. There's one Cerakote system that does not need to be baked, but you could even do like a pistol, a Glock, a 1911 and something using your home oven, no problem. If your wife will let you do it. And frankly, the baking doesn't stink up the house or anything like that, really. Open a kitchen window, you'd be fine. 15 minutes after you're done, you won't even notice it was ever done. If she's okay with that. So there's ways to do it. This is how we're doing it, and I'm doing it right. So that's why it's taken a while, but 2 weeks, yeah, we should be good. Little time, shoot a video, edit, get it up to you. And this is going to be a fun one. I'm going to do the video separate when the Tacoma stuff gets here. We'll run through the upgrades I've already done. Then we'll run through the installation and use of the new Tacoma stuff and get that video out to you. I'll bring you a video on the Cerakote oven. And yeah, the rest will be the actual process. So you'll see some of that. And I got a benchtop video ready, review ready to go for you on one of our pre-bands. So it'll be cool. You'll get to see that. And that's what we got coming. Let's look through here one more time. We're at 3 hours. My God. Chase is out of here. Sorry, I didn't see that earlier. Ross has made it in. Good, you made it. I'm glad. I guess we went into restricted territory. Why did it stop on you? I've had to refresh 3 times. It's not on this end. We were solid tonight. I didn't get one warning. So solid. Damn, I can't see. I've been on a diet of mostly turkey and chicken since the first of the year, other than a steak once in a while. I can't believe how bad beef from the grocery store tastes to me now. No kidding. You're right, though. You're absolutely right. I was at a place this weekend and I haven't seen it in years. When I was growing up as a kid, everybody had a local butcher store, right? You went to the butcher and the old guy carved out whatever your grandma was asking for, your mom. And if it wasn't good enough, she'd tell him too. That doesn't look too good this week, Joe, or whatever, you know. But we had a good butcher. You remember the sawdust on the floor and everything? It was great. They would even, this butcher, think about this. If you know what steak tartare is, the raw ground beef, you eat it with shallots and a little bit of hard-boiled egg and salt and pepper. I love that. Some people slang will call them a cannibal sandwich. I love the raw beef, but it has to be super fresh. A little bit of bacteria in there, you get you really sick or kill you. But it's delicious to me. That's the true taste of beef right there. That being said, they used to have all these butcher shops, all that stuff, and you could get good cuts of meat and stuff. If you know what dry aging is, people will look, the average person will look at a piece of dry aged beef and go, oh my God, it's bad, it's rancid, it's this. Look, I've even seen dry aged beef have mold on the outside of it, little spot, so it's not bad. If you know what Italian prosciutto is, prosciutto is made in Italy. It's a ham. It's hung in the open air. They say the salt air from the the Mediterranean and whatnot, cure it, seal it, and it starts to harden and dry, right? That's what prosciutto is. And the entire outside of that ham will be coated in a crust of dried whatever and mold that thick. Before they process it, they shave all that mold and everything off, and it's the most delicious meat you've ever had in your life. Anyhow, dry aged meat is done the same way. It's not aged under extreme refrigeration. It's sort of just cooler than room temperature, and it's dry aged. Like they say, it's just hung and dried in that moderate temperature, and it starts to dry out a little bit. And when that happens, the enzymes go to work in there, natural enzymes, and start to break down the toughness or any toughness that's there of the meat and the fibers. And it's the most tender, most delicious beef you've ever had in your life. Same way a lot of people still will hang their deer. If it's early fall or a warm fall and you get a deer, tons of people, including myself, you would, gut them some, and then there's some debate as to whether keep the skin on or the hide on or take it off, and then they'd hang it in a shed or a garage. If the temperatures outside were moderate, matter of fact, it could get to 75, 78 during the day, and if it was, it stayed 68 in the garage, 65 at night, dropped down, you could hang that deer for a week out there. And the longer you could hang it, the better that deer was. And that's what people did. Well, that's what dry aging is. I was at a butcher shop, Italian, this week that had dry aged beef right there. The whole racks, the whole ribs, the tomahawk ribeyes, everything. And some people were walking by going, ugh, and I'm looking, there's a little mold on that one, but the rest is so my mouth was watering looking at them. I had one of these steaks. Let me tell you something. I bet there's very few people under the age of 30 that have ever tasted what real beef should taste like. I'm not kidding. We're lucky enough to have producers out here, Black Angus producers, small farm producers that we can get from. And that's the way to do it, guys. There's nothing wrong with beef. There's things wrong with big farms and how they produce it, and big food chains, how they buy, how they grade, how they treat the animals with chemicals and vaccinations and all that. But small farm, know where you're getting it from. If you can get it down the road from a neighbor, absolutely. You pay a little more? Sure. Is it healthier? Is there better calories in it? Better fat? Better everything? Absolutely. And the taste will blow you away. These steaks need nothing but salt. And salt is not a bad thing on a steak. That's what should be put on it. Salt brings out the natural flavor and brings out the fat as well. It'll pull fat from meat. So yeah, it's amazing. But I agree with you. You get some of these steaks from a big grocery store, and even though you're cooking them right, doing everything right, you go, what the hell? It just doesn't, it's got no flavor, first of all, or what I call the smell and taste of death. How many times have you done that? You're like, oh, this is going to be great. And you take a bite. Oh, God, it's horrible. I've had that happen a ton. And friends, I eat way less red meat than I ever have. My wife, over our marriage, has weaned me off. I used to eat nothing but red meat, period. And over the years, she's weaned me off where I didn't even realize it was happening to me. And then finally, the last year or so, it's been Chicken. I friggin' hate chicken so much I could puke. But now she brings in other things. We eat chicken. I don't do turkey much at all. I don't care for it. That's one of those death meats to me. Um, Chicken, lamb, venison, beef, veal. I eat quite a bit of veal. Um, I like it. This place had all the salamis and prosciuttos and all the cured meats, and oh my god, so good. In the cheese selection, all there's a lot of stuff that's packaged as Italian. You think that you'd swear, oh, it's Italian, right from Italy. No, 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 no. They get around the laws, and it's from here. So if it doesn't have the initials DOM on it, it's not from over there. And other countries in Europe will use that same thing, DOM. But yeah, if it's got that on it, it's legit. And I'm not Italian, but let me tell you, the Italians and the Germans have the best food, and the Poles have the best food going. And if you stick to their recipes and how my grandma and their grandmas would have made it and buy the legit stuff, you're going to spend some money, but man, it's healthier, it's better, and it tastes better. I'm glad you guys like the show. American flag on the Chinese side folder. that's what I was doing with the Vepper, but I see that's sacrilege to even say it on the folder. But yeah. Anyhow, guys, just a little background, food for thought. Maybe nothing's going on. Maybe nothing happens. Maybe life goes on. But if anything, and I do believe there's things at work that we need to address quick and be ready for. But if nothing else, if you think, you're all full of hot air, why not use it as an opportunity to get ready a little bit? I caught a show the other day, and it was Glenn Beck, and a lot of people say Glenn Beck's a conspiracy theorist. But he had a little quiz for his viewers about being ready for anything, whether it's a natural disaster, man-made disaster, whatever. How many of his viewers were ready? And it asked about, what things you have stored, stockpiled, gear, different things. And I think if I gave that quiz here, you'd be shocked how unprepared you actually are. Great. You got tons of guns and bullets. Wonderful. I'll go get what I need. Come on, guys. Be real. Get ready. Use a little bit to get ready. Clear out. Make room. You can't carry all the guns. What are you going to do with them all? You need one for you, one for each family member. And I get it. I collect and you collect and we got them and they're not going anywhere. But at the end of the day, when you really need it and to do a job, you need one. So think about the extra crap you got laying around, taking up space, taking up cash flow, all of that stuff, and see if you can't put it somewhere smarter that will keep you and your family and loved ones safe and prepared and healthier and better. We never talk about that. So I thought this would be a good way to bring it across to you. And we had some great news on the 2A front, and it's still going. So be happy about that. I wanted this to be kind of uplifting in a way, and that empowering maybe is the word, where you can take control with a little bit of money, a little bit of forethought, and feel a little better and lay your head down on a pillow at night and close your eyes a little easier. So do it. Make yourself, God knows things are crazy enough. Do a little something. Pick something that you say, this would be easy. Maybe put a little gasoline away. And Sunday when you run to the gas station or something, bring 2 5-gallon cans with you, fill them up, put them in a corner of the garage. Make you feel better. And when you Nobody can get gas. You got enough to get wherever, do whatever, run a generator, whatever you got to do for next time the power goes out. Something little. Figure out a little project, little solar project maybe. At least start looking. Hey, what would it cost to get a decent briefcase panel set up and maybe a battery and cables and stuff so I could charge phones, computers, this, that if I needed to. At least you'll learn something about solar. Might not be the best thing, but you got something that's usable and something you can learn from and progress from. Go do a project. Come up with the idea tonight, and Saturday, Sunday, go fulfill it. I'm building a new chicken coop this weekend. That ain't a cheap project. That's going to be, my last one was about $1,200 when I built it 10 years ago. And I sold it because the floor rotted out. Well, you live and learn. Now this new one, the floor ain't going to rot out anymore. And it's much bigger, and the chickens will be happier. And my wife loves them. She loves animals, so it makes her happy. And she's playing with them and having fun and handling them so they're not as scared of us and that type of thing. And I'll do that project this weekend. It's one more check off the list, right? And yeah, go out and do it. Have some fun and do something different. Learn. It's all about learning. And just remember, the guns are cool. That's what we're about here. But at the end of the day, they protect all the rest of the rights. So they are the most important, but you need a lot more in addition too. So go out and do it. All right. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm sorry I went so long, although when I get on a kick, I just go. Sometimes I'm like, how the hell did I talk that long? Anyhow, I hope it all made sense. I do it off the cuff, so I hope it all made sense. I hope you enjoyed it. If you got any questions on the projects, Cerakote, chickens, whatever, you got an idea and you're like, how do I do this? There's so much that I do that I don't go into here that I can give you advice on. So anything you got a question on, drop me an email, put it down in the comments after, not the chat. The chat closes, but the comments, I'll see them, I'll read them, and I'll let you know. Or drop me an email, and we'll go from there. Okay? Anyhow I can help you, let me know. That's it, boys and girls. Thanks for coming over to Koffee and Kalashnikovs. Got a little bit of Red Bull left and a full thing of coffee, so it's time to go relax, enjoy, and watch for a video this week. And I'll see you next Tuesday. And love you all. Thanks very much. As always, Rockford Ordnance out. Go get your Polymer 80 frame. Get on the list at least. Support them. Yahoo!